Sorry, what happened? I work night shift, and normally I'm sleeping right now because I go into work at about, here? Yeah. Tonight I'm supposed to be at 11 o'clock. I'm normally sleeping right now because I usually give myself about an hour and a half or so to get to work.
Where do you stay?
I live in Port Orange, but I work, yeah.
That's a trip.
Downtown. Don't remind me. Honestly, the new post that they put me at is much better. I used to do security over at North Bridge, over on Millennium Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very glad that the one over at Uptown Place opened up. The guy there gave us 2 weeks, and my boss is like, well, I want you over there.
Well, must be because you do a good job.
That's what he tells me, and that's what I try to do. I mean, I've gotten emails sent to the property manager from residents telling me what a great job I'm doing. I've actually been given one of our small little blurbs that one of them sent me.
Nice.
The property manager loves me to death, I guess. My bosses have all been really happy. They actually authorized an additional raise to keep me because I was actually going to terminate my employment with this company at the beginning of this month because I just couldn't afford to keep driving out there. And they wanted to keep me so much that they actually gave me another raise to help, offset the gas costs and everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. First and foremost, let's get through all the preliminary stuff, and then I'll tell you a little bit about myself and what we're doing. And
yeah, because I mean, I've heard of polygraphs. You see it all on TV and stuff like that, but I'm not really sure exactly how this all works.
I'll explain it. It's awesome. What I need you to do is print your name here, read all this out loud to me. This is your consent to take a polygraph for your day. Okay. From what I understand, you're here on an appointment. I guess you made an appointment with the detectives to come down for this polygraph.
Well, they made the appointment for me. They asked me if I'd be willing to come in yesterday, and I said, yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm just saying you're not under arrest or anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
You're just a witness that they're just trying to vindicate everybody and follow,
Yep.
Okay. Because I don't know too much about it. I want to ask you a little bit, see what you know about it, and it should be pretty quick.
I know a little bit more, but only from what the news is putting out there because I've been trying to keep track and find out what's going on.
Well, we all know we can't. Well, we all know we can't trust the news anyway.
Yeah, they've already tried flagging me down once at work, and I'm like, I'm going to keep walking this way and go inside.
Yeah.
Because I am not talking to you vultures.
So go ahead and put your name here. Read this out loud to me. I just make sure that you know how to read.
Reading? What is that? Do you want my full middle name too, or just the middle initial?
Middle initial is fine.
Okay. Okay. I, Stephen Michael Duxbury, acknowledge that I am fully aware of my constitutional right to reverse, and I do hereby request voluntarily, without duress, coercion, threat, promise of reward, or immunity that a polygraph examination, truth verification / lie detector test be administered to me. I further consent to any electronic recording of the entire polygraph procedure, including but not limited to videotaping. After having the examination process explained to me and having been advised of the requirements and processes involved in the polygraph test, I do hereby request the necessary attachments to be placed on my person, and I do hereby consent to everything that is necessary to be done and to be spoken in order to effectuate this request. New word. I understand that conditions such as hypertension, pregnancy, respiratory, or heart ailments, and any medication that I am taking may affect the results of the polygraph examination. I understand that the examination itself may be stressful and that I may consult with a physician prior to this polygraph examination to determine if it is suitable for me to be tested. To the best of my knowledge, I have no physical or mental condition that will adversely affect my taking the examination today or cause adverse results during the interview / examination. I do hereby release and forever hold harmless the examiner, the agents and or employees of the Orlando Police Department and the City of Orlando. I further agree that the results of this examination may be made available to the proper authorities and released by the examiner as deemed necessary.
Okay, so if you consent, I ask you to sign here, date it there.
Okay. Should have made that appointment with the doctor.
Why? What's
Well, I've been under a lot of stress lately because I'm moving. I've got a wedding coming up. This whole situation happening. I mean, I'm playing hell.
Well, we'll get this behind you. I mean, it's just,
It's right here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I haven't had to deal with any deaths other than, my stepsister dying a couple of years back, other than when I was in Afghanistan. And that was not a fun time for me. It's the 22nd?
It is.
So it's just like...
Now, did you give sworn statements and all that stuff?
When I went the night that all the police officers were there, I did fill out statements.
Okay, when you talk to the detectives here, did they read you your rights or anything like that?
They have not.
Okay, well, and this is the same form we use for even employment. We make sure that everyone's fully aware of what their rights are before we even get started. It's just a procedure that we use here, and that's why it's on the back of the consent form. So what you need to do is read each one out loud, and if you understand it, put your initials there, answer these last two questions. If you have a question about any of them, stop me and ask me. I will explain it to you until you understand. All right. It's just important for me to know that you know what your rights are. Doesn't mean you're under arrest or anything. It just means we're going to be talking about a criminal case. I'm sorry, you got to read them out loud.
Oh, sorry. Make sure that you. Okay, sorry. You have the right to remain silent. Initial. Anything I say may be used against me in court. Initial. I have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during the questioning. Initials. If I cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be provided for me before questioning without charge. Initials. Has anyone threatened me or promised me anything to get me to talk to you? No, they have not. Do I understand these rights and do I wish to continue the interview at this time? Yes. And date. And level of education. I'm in college now, so some college.
Yeah, you just put some college, that's fine. So what I need to do now is steal a little information from you. You have your driver's license on you today. Just make sure you are who you say you are.
I should hope so. Sometimes I don't feel like myself, but that's just my life.
Yeah. All right.
You're in the Marines?
I was.
I was Air Force.
All right.
Yeah. All right, come on, make fun of me now. Come on, I'm waiting. Nah, just kidding. To me, I look at the whole rivalry between the service branches as just brotherly love.
It is. It's just, we're just jealous because you get all the nice dinners and nice places to stay.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, I was actually a little disgusted when I found out that if, I had been stationed at any other base than an Air Force base, I would have been getting paid extra for living in substandard conditions. To me, I found that to be inappropriate. If me living in the same conditions that an Army or Marine or, a soldier or a Marine would be living in is considered substandard, that's an insult to you guys.
We're used to it. Yeah, we start from day one like that.
Yeah, no. So, really? The Air Force is kind of pompous like that.
All right. Your nickname is, what do they call you?
I've got a couple, but Steve or Dux, D-U-X.
Okay. Any scars, marks, or tattoos?
Yes. No tattoos, multiple scars.
Okay.
Yeah. Most recent ones were from getting stabbed multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and my wife's ex-boyfriend the morning after I proposed to her.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is the worst of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he tried to stab me in the throat, and that's when I decided to grab the knife. And
Well, you got to defend yourself.
Exactly.
All right. Your date of birth is?
April 25th, 1982.
And your place of birth?
Is Nashua, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a Yankee.
That's nice out there, though.
Well, Pittsburgh, New Hampshire is actually where I've been living for a while now. And, oh my God, I miss it up there.
So you just moved back down from there?
Well, I got out of the Air Force not this past September, but September of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I were supposed to be getting a house from my mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that fell through, so we got an apartment down here. Oh, excuse me. But we're actually getting the house the 1st of November. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I just figured, it would be less expensive than trying to move up to New Hampshire where job opportunities are kind of nil and void. Whereas down here, least from what the research I had done before getting out, there was a better job opportunity for me, or job opportunities as a former military.
Yeah.
Sadly, that didn't prove to be the case. It took me 6 months to get a friggin' job.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucked. I actually got my job with the security company I went through one of my professors.
Okay.
I was a criminal justice major.
Right. So what are you majoring in now?
Programming and analysis.
Oh.
But it's kind of a long-termish plan because I'm focusing that, but I'm going to use my electives to get a whole bunch of cybersecurity and cyber forensics degree stuff, so I can just roll it all into a cyber forensics.
Cool.
Yeah. Computers are my thing.
Well, that's what's going on these days.
Not telling you that.
Your height is?
About 6 foot.
Okay. And your weight?
Haven't weighed myself recently. I'm going to say between 220, 230.
Okay, so I'm going to do 225. How about that?
That sounds good.
Your hair's brown.
Nope.
What color is your hair?
Red. It's actually red.
Red, okay.
Yep. Well, it's actually a combination of red, brown, and blonde. It all depends on how much sun I get.
Okay. And your eyes?
Are brown.
Brown, okay. Your home address?
It is 1645 Dunlawton Avenue, apartment 1123, Port Orange, Florida.
What's the apartment number? Sorry.
1123, sorry.
In Port Orange, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a drive down here, but where I'm from originally, that's the normal drive to get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And the zip code is?
It's 32127. Although, like I said, that address is actually going to change in November, but if this is still going on by then, I will obviously be contacting the detectives and giving them the new update.
Yeah, this is just for my background.
Yep.
You contact them, that's what they do. This is all I do.
Okay.
So
You're the polygraph guy.
I'm a polygraph guy. And your phone number is?
228
228.
365 2971. That's my cell phone.
Okay. And you work for?
Vital Security and Investigations. I think I have one of their cards in my wallet. Let me check. Nope, just my social. You should stop carrying that with me.
Yes, you should. Shouldn't have that on you.
Actually, I think the reason why I was carrying it on me was because I needed it for something. I just forgot to take it back out of my wallet. And so, here I am. That's my employee ID.
Okay.
And I believe the name of the company president's on there, Todd Rogers.
All right. Sure. And you have a work number?
Not well. I've got a site phone.
Like a dispatch or something? They don't have that?
I just work one site, and I'm the only officer right now that works that site. So
okay.
I just carry a site phone on me when I'm on duty, and if any of the residents have a problem or the police need to get a hold of me, they just call that and I answer.
Okay.
So not really, unfortunately.
And you said you're engaged?
Nope, I am married.
Okay, you're married.
Was engaged about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Well, I am longer than that.
So how long have you been married?
I've been married for almost 3 years now. I was married in 2013.
Okay. And your spouse's name?
Grazina, Gravina, Darguzis, Darguizis. Actually waiting to change the last name when we actually have a family ceremony. We got married, her full name is Grazina Sabina Soifong Darguzis.
And what nationality is that?
She is half
Czechoslovakian.
She is half Chinese, half Lithuanian. Her mother's from Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, we got married the month before I deployed to Afghanistan. We just did the courthouse thing, and then this coming February, we actually have the big ceremony for all the family. Because it's just been with everything going on. With my military career, with the force reduction, which is why I ended up having to get out. And then, moving and everything like that. We just took forever for us to get this off the ground. But finally, it's like, yes. We got the date, we've got everything set up, she's got the dress, it's looking good. The only thing she's told me is that I better fit into my Blues uniform.
Children?
None yet.
No. Okay.
Although, I don't know, cats, do they count?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What high school you graduated from?
Pittsburgh High School, Pittsburg, no H.
All right, and you are currently in college. What college are you going to?
I'm going to Daytona State College. Yeah, Daytona State College.
Okay. And you started when?
Yeah, September. I think it was September 4th.
Of this year?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just in your first semester? Or?
Yeah, I transferred from Strayer University because the program I was in for that just was not panning out well, and I was just not getting a good feeling from it, so I decided to transfer to a state college.
Okay.
That was closer to home, too.
The year you first started attending college?
That would be now is that before I went to join the military? Because I've actually got college from before the military also.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. My college life is kind of all over the place.
All right. Let's do this. I'll just put computer. It's computer related.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going for college for computer for programming and analysis.
Okay. I'll just put present for attending.
Yeah, sorry, going to be so confusing on all this.
No, it's all right. I just don't know you. I'm just getting to know you a little bit. And you were in the Air Force. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for yours.
You're welcome. Mine was quite a bit ago. I'm an old part.
Yeah. You served. And plus with you guys, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah.
I actually joined on the Marine's birthday.
Did you?
That was that was the final swear-in before they sent me to basic training. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually caught a guy who was trying to scam some money out of me on that. He's like, oh yeah, I was a Marine. I'm like, oh cool, I was Air Force. You know, I shake my hand. Cool. They asked me for some money because he's trying to go see his brother and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh cool, but first, what's the Marine's birthday?
November 10th.
Exactly.
1975.
Yeah, see, I can never remember the year, but I will always remember November 10th. He couldn't even tell me that much. So I'm like, yeah, I'll walk off.
Yeah.
I hate people like that.
Okay, so the years you served?
I served from 2008 until 2014.
And your discharge type?
Honorable.
Okay. Yeah. And your rank at time of discharge?
I was a senior airman, E4.
Okay, now were you full-time? Was it reserve? Was it a mixture?
I was full-time active duty.
Okay. Any issues while in the military at all that you ran across?
Just, you know, I mean, my PIF did have some black marks in it, mostly stupid stuff. I actually got a lot of them after the stabbing attack because the doctor never properly documented my sleeping problems, so I was coming into work late, and I was getting paperwork for that. But nothing like grossly, you know, like no, I wasn't like, you know, getting into fights or anything like that.
Okay. Ever been arrested?
Yes, juvenile.
Juvenile, okay. And what was that for?
That was, do I have to discuss my juvenile record? Even
No, we don't.
Okay, well,
I'll just put it as juvenile.
It's a really jacked up situation that happens.
You guys understand, we all have life experiences. We all done stupid shit when we were young.
Yeah.
And we've grown from those. You know, you're not actively still doing the same silly stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all part of living and growing up. And it's called life.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're expected to do that because we're immature, we were young, and we were stupid. And that's how you learn. So, and no one here is going to judge you because I guarantee I've done probably worse than what you did probably. At some point, we've all done stupid stuff. So,
yeah. Basically, it was just my best friend's older sister was babysitting my siblings because they wouldn't listen to me. My mother was a single mother raising 4 kids. We lived in a farm, and this is when I lived in Otis, Massachusetts. Kid that lived down the road kept sneaking over to our farm and opening all the doors, letting our animals out in the middle of the night, and we lived on a major highway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to take the dogs out to the barn. She came with me to help me because I had a golden retriever and another dog. I think it was a chocolate lab. And while we were out there, I had forgotten to plug in the cord that gave power to the barn in the house, so it was pitch black, and I thought I heard something upstairs. And I thought, oh, God, that she was upstairs. So, not really thinking, I went over to the wall of tools and I grabbed the first thing that seemed sense to me, which was a shovel head that had broken off the staff.
Mm-hmm.
I go up the stairs and she's following me. She was about a year or two older than I was. And, she's kind of a little nervous about what's going on. So I'm like, okay, stay here at the top of the stairs. If anyone tries to run by you, stop them. She's like, okay. So I go walking around. I can barely see anything because, the moonlight, not really, thinking too clearly, looking back. I'm walking. I hear floorboards creak. I see a shadow move out of the corner of my eye. Turn around. Upside the back of her head. Oh, she had moved and followed me. I didn't know.
Okay, that's a simple mistake.
Yeah, well, that simple mistake, unfortunately, went right down the worst roads possible. She freaks out, and I find out later that's because she had been raped by her 3 previous boyfriends and her uncle. So see, she had some severe issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother hated my mother because her kids felt more comfortable talking to my mother than her. So she forced Becky to press charges against me. State troopers in the area basically assumed I was trying to rape her or something. And then it just went from there. And we ended up having to leave the area. I moved to New Hampshire. They transferred my parole because they put me on parole because I pled guilty because rather than take it to court and have Becky's reputation utterly destroyed because my mother was her confidant, I took a hit because I'm not going to ruin my best friend's sister or his life over that. And just, I don't know, I probably could have won, but it's like I didn't want to hurt my friends.
No, I completely understand.
So
you said they charged you with attempted?
They charged me
with hitting her.
They charged me with that, but the prosecutor wanted me tried as an adult. I was only about 15. She wanted me tried as an adult. Did not want me to be left around children. I mean, she just kept piling stuff on.
Okay.
And they never officially charged me with attempted rape or anything like that.
Okay.
But what I ended up pleading guilty to was reckless assault because the intent to hit was there, but not the intent to hit her.
Right.
When I got to New Hampshire, the parole officer came to the house to meet me. We talked for several hours about the whole case. He got up and was like, by the way, your parole's over. And ended my parole right there. Because he's like, had this happened anywhere else, you would have gotten a slap on the wrist in community service. But because it happened way out in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing going on, they had to make a big hullabaloo out of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it sucks, but
Yeah.
in all honesty, it kind of turned out to be a good thing because that area was a terrible place to live if you were not someone who was born there. They treated everyone like an outsider.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they do that. I saw a show somewhere up in that area where they were very suspicious of people who weren't part of that community for a long period of time. And
Yeah, it's like you had to live there for 33.3 years before they would start to consider you a local.
yeah.
Where I'm from in Pittsburgh, or where I'm living, or where I moved from in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, everyone up there loves me. I mean, I get along great. A lot of family members, a lot of parents were actually telling their daughters, dump your boyfriend, date him. He's a good guy.
Okay. Now your medical history, your medical background. So you got stabbed multiple times.
Yep.
Okay, and what year was that?
That was in, it was either 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
I can't quite remember off the top of my head, just because, I don't really focus too much on it. I mean, the scars are there to remind me, but
Right.
I've got the documentation at the house somewhere.
Okay, what else have you gone to the hospital for?
Wisdom teeth removal,
Okay.
emergency appendectomy in 2007. I had a cyst removed from my left wrist. It was in 2012. Because it was after the stabbing, I remember that part. Because I have like very weird nerve feeling here. 2013 or early 2014, I had to have a kidney stone surgically removed because it was, as the doctor described it, a ball of fish hooks. And it had hooked right at the entrance to where it would have fell into the bladder. That was not a fun time.
No.
I was hospitalized while I was in Afghanistan due to a very severe and acute case of rhabdomyolysis.
Which is?
Basically, you know how when you work out and your muscles hurt after a while?
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine where your muscles are so badly hurt that they're actually bleeding protein into your bloodstream.
Okay.
And, it's like literally like you're almost like in a constant state of cramps.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they ran blood tests on me and my levels were that of someone who had a limb blown off or had a severe crushing accident, even though I didn't. And I wasn't even working out that crazily or anything like that. They almost medevaced me because of it. But I spent 2 nights in the, not in the ICU, but the ICW, because they really only had those 2 in Afghanistan, and then I came home.
Any issues with those nowadays?
The rhabdo, I still have issues with it, but they didn't properly document or anything like that, so I kind of have to deal with it on my own because the VA won't cover it. Mostly it's just muscle weakness, and I just cramp up really easily.
Okay.
And I'm trying to take supplements, drink more water, and everything like that, but it still hurts and bothers me.
Any heart issues, lung issues?
I had whooping cough a couple of years, not too long ago, a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's made a resurgence back in the left. My doctor actually had it when he diagnosed me.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, really? Wow, I could have sworn you were inoculated with that when we were children. But, yeah. Other than that, no major respiratory, no major heart issues or anything like that.
Okay. Any seizures, dizzy spells?
I've had a couple of dizzy spells growing up where it's like I'd be sitting down watching TV, I'd get up, I'd see pretty colors, kind of hear a little buzzing, and I'd kind of collapse, but I wouldn't lose consciousness. But nothing like, I was never officially seen by a doctor for it.
Okay.
So I guess you could say no.
Any medications you're currently taking right now?
Just kind of self-medicating myself for migraines and muscle soreness.
And how do you self-medicate?
Excedrin, Excedrin migraine, and ibuprofen, stuff like that.
Okay.
So over-the-counter stuff.
Oh, okay.
Nothing illegal, illicit, or stuff I'm not supposed to do.
Okay. Any mental issues you've been diagnosed with?
I found out after the fact when I got out, but I guess they diagnosed me with an anxiety disorder while I was in the military after the stabbing incident. But I mean, I don't remember them ever telling me that, and they didn't really. I mean, I saw the therapist a couple of times, and that was about it.
Okay. Anything you're medicated for? Nothing like that?
No.
When was the last time you seen someone for anxiety?
I was sort of kind of seen after I got out when I reported to the VA up in Port Orange, but they never really did anything with me.
Okay. All right.
I'm a very nervous individual. I mean, I've been noticing as I've been getting closer to the parole date for the guy who tried to stab me, I've been a little bit more anxious. Other than that, I mean, nothing really over the top.
I get it. Any tobacco use?
Nope. I tried that when I was a kid. Didn't like it.
Alcohol use?
Rarely. I drink maybe once or twice every couple of months, if that.
And when you drink, what is it? Beer, alcohol?
I prefer hard liquor, although a friend of mine actually introduced me to some of the apple beers that have come out recently, and I actually like those. Those are pretty good. I've never gotten a taste for regular beer.
Okay. When was the last time you were intoxicated?
Like, blitzed out of my mind intoxicated, or like just
enough where you couldn't operate a motor vehicle?
I honestly couldn't tell you. It's been that long. I don't drink to.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't drink to get that. I don't drink to like get that way anymore.
Okay.
Remember the very first time I got really blitzed?
I think we all remember that.
Yeah, sure. I'd never drink again. I'm sure we've all done that too.
Yeah. And it was all underage.
Technically,
Mm-hmm.
I was hopping the border into Canada, and I was 18, so I was legal in Canada.
I see.
And they hadn't changed the laws where internal possession was an issue at that point in time. So, I wasn't driving on the way home, so, yeah.
Caffeine use?
Extensive. I work nights.
Okay, so coffee, soda?
Coffee, Mountain Dew, soda, yeah.
Okay.
I try to stay away from the caffeine pills, though. Those things make me just...
Yeah, you'll just start shaking.
Oh, God. And I remember the very first time I took them, back when I was still in high school, it made me really angry for some reason. I guess I don't do well with stimulants on that level.
And so when was the last time you took any of those?
More than 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I've never, that's like I said, when I learn something, I try to stay away from it when it turns out to be bad.
All right.
It's just not my thing.
The very first time you tried marijuana?
Never.
Never tried marijuana?
Never.
What illicit drug have you ever tried?
Never.
Never tried anything? Okay. I just need to find out that before we...
No, I understand.
Okay.
No, I know a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that. I've had opportunities to, but usually those opportunities came when I had a new job interview coming up and a drug test would have been necessary, so I would just, nope.
Okay.
And I smell it, it just makes me nauseous.
Yeah, I don't care for it either.
Yeah, I mean, I understand in some cases it actually has helped people medically, but
Yeah.
the smell of it just turns me off.
I'm with you there. All right, so I just wanted to get to know you a little bit, and I have to fill out a few things on here.
Okay.
So, Stephen, tell me a little bit about, well, first, we were talking about the Air Force.
Yep.
You got out there, then you've been doing the security for how long?
About 6 months, a little over 6 months now.
6 months.
So with this company, I used to do in-house security at a resort before I joined the military, and then in the military I was also part of a hospital security team as well, because I was a pharmacy tech in the Air Force.
Okay. Well, why did you continue doing that when you got out?
I hated it.
It was good money.
Yes and no. Florida's reputation for how they treat their techs and their pharmacists is not good.
Really?
I'm sorry, not 5. 4 out of the 5 new civilian pharmacists we got at my base were from Florida. They swore they would never come back to the state ever again because of it. Well, most of the companies that handle staffing will chew you up and spit you out. Like right before you get ready to, start getting the good money, the benefits aren't that bad, lay you off. Or they'll just slash your hours.
Interesting.
And at the time when I was in, they didn't require us to be nationally certified. And I don't have my national certification. It's a $300 test with an 80% failure rate.
Yeah.
Don't exactly have that kind of money sitting around to risk throwing at a test that I more than likely will fail.
I get you there.
Yeah, plus, I mean, unless I was going to be going into an inpatient pharmacy, I'm not doing outpatient. Counting pills all day is just boring. Seriously, when they put me up into inpatient, I'm like, yes. I learned so much in there. I mean, the difference is, having to judge by body weight, infants, I mean, all these interesting things that I learned, especially when I was in Afghanistan.
Cool. All right, so you started doing security with Vital
In April.
In April. And when did you start working at, was it Uptown? How long have you been working at Uptown?
I want to say June or July. It was one of the J months.
Okay.
They all kind of blurred together because I was still working on both posts until recently. Now I'm only exclusively at Uptown. And eventually they're actually going to be upping it to where we're probably going to have guards 7 nights a week, and I'll probably be working 5 nights a week there.
Okay, so how many nights a week you work there now? 4?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, and are you the only one that works there?
I'm the only officer that works that site.
Okay, and so you report to who?
I report to my supervisor, Stephen Patrick.
And is he there also, or is he down in Port Orange? Or
No, he's a lieutenant, so he kind of is everywhere.
All right, so do you do a daily log, or?
Okay, yeah, we have daily activity reports that have to be completed at the end of every shift.
And where do those reports go?
I take a digital scan of it, and I send it to my supervisor. And recently now I've started also sending that, in addition to any pictures I take over the evening, to the property manager, and the hard copies go into the Dropbox for the property manager.
Okay. So what is basically your duties?
My duties there are to patrol the building, to patrol the perimeter, and patrol the parking garage, make sure that we don't have any unauthorized access, no one's attempting to break in, general security stuff.
Typical security stuff.
Yeah, it's an unarmed site, so,
Okay.
pretty much observe and report.
So do you have an armed license or not?
I do not have a G license.
Okay. Now, do you have a typical parking space where like assigned to you when you get there, or?
No, I actually, company policy to a point is we're supposed to arrive on post in uniform. I've actually spoke with my supervisor and his captain, and I've told them that I do not like going to work in uniform because I would rather the employees not really be able to recognize me, because some of them don't recognize me if I'm in civilian attire. Because I have had problems with with residents in that building before, and I'd rather them not be able to figure out which car is mine. I actually will park my car in different areas.
Oh, okay.
That way,
So there's not a particular area where you're supposed to park your car?
Yeah, no.
So there's not assigned parking?
No. There used to be, but they stopped that.
Okay. And so you said you've had a couple problems with some of the residents. Like what kind of problems?
The minor ones are just, drunken idiots making too much noise, not really wanting to listen to me. I had one guy go straight up chest to chest with me, like pressing his chest against me, trying to instigate a fight with me, because I dared to tell him, hey guys, you need to keep it quiet in the hallways, because it was his birthday.
Okay.
I reported that to the office, because it's like, I'm not dealing with this idiot. And he, I guess, and his girlfriend or whatever got a 30-day notice and were evicted as of September.
Nice.
Yeah. It's nice when the office actually has our backs.
Yeah, support. You got that support.
Oh God, so good.
And so what else? What other issues have you had?
Those are the major ones. People trying to use the pool after hours. So I've had some people. Oh, I did have a junkie try to pick a fight with a guy that's about twice as big as I am one night. But at first I was just going to kind of stand back, observe the situation, and laugh while the junkie's getting his ass kicked by this guy, because the guy was built like a linebacker, until the junkie started reaching and checking his back. At which point I'm like, if he's got a weapon, this is going to go bad real quick. So I'm like, all right, people, I've got a resident, 2 guests. I'm like, I need you guys to get into the building now. And they just kind of scoff at first. And, the guy keeps hurling insults at the junkie. The junkie's kind of just, twitchy, moving around, kept reaching for his side. I'm like, no, I need you guys in there now. And I back up through, because we're right in front of the entrance, the parking garage gate. So we back in. So they go in. I back up through the gate and wait till it closes. The guy keeps wandering around for a bit, then kind of heads across the street into the bushes. And I called the police on that because I did not want to run the risk of someone else walking around there and this guy possibly attacking them. So,
okay.
Other than that, and I had another guy checking cars once, trying to get into cars, see if they were unlocked. No one's really, other than that one guy, no one's really gotten like altercation like with me. I've never had anyone actually openly try to fight me, other than that one dude. Most of the time I just have to deal with drunken idiots like yelling or saying, this is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And the night when actually everyone was there for this incident, I had 2 girls that got locked out of their apartment by a roommate, and one of them kind of lost her shit and was like literally kicking and slamming and pounding that door to the point where she woke up some other residents.
Not the same night that this happened?
Well, the night that all the officers were there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Saturday? Yeah, Saturday night. This past Saturday night. Past Saturday. Yeah. And in fact, actually, one of the officers had come out of the elevator, and the first time I actually had to deal with these 2 girls that night, they'd come back later with 2 guys. I guess they were going to try and have the guys break the door down. I'm like, no, do not do that, please, guys. I've got the property manager here. She will have you arrested. Let me try and find out what I can do. To be perfect, this post is pretty low key. Very quiet. Just most I got to deal with are noise complaints and drunks.
What else? What are the main issues you might have with the residents there that you have to report?
Really, anything that I see that's I don't even have post orders there yet. I've been waiting for those. They're supposed to be getting to me soon. We're probably going to be changing them now too. But people wedging the doors open, because there are some doors where you just need a key fob to get in. There are others that are strictly exit only. You can't open them from the outside. But because of the way the building is designed, sometimes it's easier to just go out those doors. And a lot of people put a rock down to try and keep the door open. My first week there, I had a homeless person sleeping on the stairwell.
Well, of course you did.
And then I got chewed out by my boss when I took it upon myself to politely ask the lady to leave, which after a 20-minute rant about her whole life story, she left without incident. Turns out I was supposed to call the police and have them deal with it. Well, I've never really had to deal with homeless people before, so I just figured, okay, I'll treat them like I treat everyone, treat them with respect and dignity, and for the most part, they should be cooperative.
Okay, so the police police came on Saturday night?
Yep, they were there actually before I got there.
Okay.
I actually had shown up about 30 minutes early.
Okay. Let's see here. So, when was the last time you saw, what's her name?
I think, well, I know because I saw the news stuff, but it's like Sasha something or other.
Okay, Sasha. Okay, so when was the last time you had
Contact with her?
Yeah, what was it the night before?
Yeah, it was Friday night.
Okay, so when you first had contact with her on Friday night,
yep.
What was the situation?
I had been doing a perimeter patrol, and I had come upon 3 girls that were at the Marks and North Orange entrance, and looked like they were trying to get inside the building. So I'm like, "Evening, ladies, having an issue with the thing?" And then I'm kind of chuckling because I see that happen all the time with the drunks. Mm-hmm. Well, as I'm starting to walk off, then I get called over by 2 of the ladies. They told me that that this was their friend, and they really didn't know her. They found her wandering around downtown somewhere in kind of a drunken, stupor. I mean, the way she was moving, she looked like she was pretty out of it. And I guess they got out of her where she lived, so they brought her to Uptown, but she didn't have her key fob with her. She didn't have her keys. She didn't even have any ID. And I'm like, well, if she doesn't have any of that, I cannot help her. I cannot allow her into the building based on what my policies are. Right. Well, as I'm talking to them, another resident, a male, an older gentleman, comes up, and he sees us all there, and he kind of chuckles. He's like, "You guys aren't all robbers, are you?" I'm like, "No, sir." And, kind of looking at my uniform. And he's like, "Okay." Opens the door, walks in, she follows. Finish talking with the ladies, I go in. Intent on, finding where this girl is to make sure that, she actually is supposed to be here. She's not just wandering around the building. Well, she was just wandering around the building for a while. Finally, I guess she gets to her apartment, 3:45, and she's trying to enter in the code. She's got one of those digital deadbolt things with the buttons on the outside where you can enter in a code. And
how did you find her on the 3rd floor?
I patrolled. I checked the buildings. Okay. I checked the floors.
So how did she get up there? Do you know?
Either elevator or stairs. There are, multiple. There are 2 different elevators and 4 different stairwells in the building.
So you don't know how she got out there, but mm-hmm. You were just patrolling, and you come across her mm-hmm. on the 3rd floor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she's doing that, and, it's like, I cannot let someone just hang around in the building, trying, outside their apartment, if, say if they got locked out, and I didn't know exactly what to do, because, she's obviously intoxicated, completely gone.
So have you ever seen her before?
No, never.
Never seen her before?
No, actually, at first I thought she was a different female who we've had issues with that the local police over there are actually familiar with, because she's had other issues where she's gone home with guys completely out of her mind drunk, and I guess called them because they're like, "Oh my God, this guy, I don't know where I am. I'm in this guy's bathroom."
But this is not her?
No, this is not her, no.
Oh, okay.
Now that one lives in, I think, 320. I actually had to deal with that apartment twice because first time, she got locked out. Second time, she locked her roommate out. But, so she thought maybe she had she'd left her keys in her car, so she asked me if I would bring her to the parking garage because since she doesn't have a key fob, she wouldn't be able to get back into the building. So I'm like, sure, whatever. I've dealt with this before with other drunks who have done stuff like that. So I walk out with her, and before we even get to a car, she's like, "Wait, I think I remember the number now." So we go back in. I bring her to the door. She's there, punching the numbers away, trying to, remember what it is. And I'm just thinking to myself, God damn it. Not exactly the smartest, or not the smartest, but the most professional way to be thinking this. But I have to babysit a lot of drunks in that place.
Oh,
and it's just a pain in my ass. So I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to leave you here. Keep trying to, plug away at this. When I come back, if you have not figured this out, we're going to have to do something about this, which is either she's going to have to figure out, somehow get a hold of her friend, or I'm going to be calling the PD and have them deal with her. When I come back around after walking around, she's not there. So I'm like, okay, she must be in the building. She must have gotten in, because I checked the building, there was no sign of her.
Now, do you have a residence log so you know who lives in what apartment?
I do.
I confirm.
But I can't because she has no ID.
Because can't she tell you what her name is and you can look it up and make sure?
Yeah, well, I could have done that. When they were going through the call box initially, She said what her name was, and it did come up on the log. I remember that now. But without her phone to dial herself in, she wouldn't have been able to access the building.
Right.
But plus, most of the residents there will not let some random person into the building. They will actually just no, you come in with whoever you're supposed to be coming with, or you call them up. They will not just let people in. So when that gentleman let her in, I assumed, he knows that she lives here. And then later on in the evening during my patrol, I thought I saw her again with some guy.
You thought you saw the same girl with some
Yeah,
guy?
I mean, I didn't really get a good look at her face, but the height, the hair, and the skin color was about the same thing. And again, like I said, I'd never seen this woman before, so.
Was she wearing the same clothes?
Well, the pants were, I think, the same, but I think she had changed her top to like a white top or something. Again, they weren't doing anything that was really out of the ordinary, so I just kind of glanced at them and just continued on my patrol.
So when you saw her, when you were escorting her to her car, when you first made contact with her, and
she was wearing a purple top and white pants.
Purple top,
yep,
and white pants.
Yes.
Okay. You remember what kind of shoes or anything like that?
I think sandals.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. She was walking, as I call it, flat foot.
Flop, 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 flop.
And she could barely walk. I mean, she's stumbling all over the place. At one point, she's like kind of hanging onto me, trying to stay on her feet. So, I mean, this girl was gone.
Okay. And so when you came back, she wasn't around.
Nope. And I did not see her when I searched the entire building and the parking garage and the perimeter.
Okay. At any point, did you knock on the door to see if she was okay? Or
no, I mean, to be honest, once they're in their apartment, they're not really my responsibility because it's a condo. They're not actually apartments. They're owned by the building, so it's not really my responsibility to check up on people. Plus, I'm not allowed to go into apartments, especially if there's only one person there. I would actually I would have had to either have another person in the apartment with them, preferably someone of the opposite sex or male or whatever, or a police officer with me, because that's a liability I am not setting my foot into.
Okay.
Because I've had other residents invite me in, say, oh, hey, yeah, you want a Pepsi, you want a Coke or anything like that? I've been propositioned by residents before, and it's like, no, I am not going in there.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a liability that's just not worth the risk.
I get it. So I guess it's fair to say you've never been in her apartment?
No, never.
Okay. Well, this should be pretty easy. And so the next day, what time did you leave that day?
I leave about, I get off shift at 6 a.m., but usually I don't leave till like 20, 30 minutes later because of finishing up my report, changing into civilian clothes. That particular day, I'd actually taken some trash out to the dumpster because I found some after I turned in my report. So I figured, okay, I'll just throw it away.
And where did you find the trash?
That was in the hallway. It was on the second floor. So about like 3 bags worth.
Do you remember what apartment it was in front of?
No, unfortunately I don't. As I was walking through, I saw, I'm like, I'm on my way out anyway.
Do you normally do that, or?
I just saw it on the way out. I mean, if I'm on duty, I take snapshots of it and I leave it there, let the office deal with it, but I was already off duty and I wasn't going to just fill out a whole new report just for 3 bags of trash. So I just said, screw it. It'll be nice for the housekeeping person. I just threw it away for them.
All right. And so there was 3 bags of trash.
Yep.
Did you look in and see what it was or anything like that?
No, they were tied off and I just grabbed them and threw them.
And what kind of bags were they?
White, just like your white hefty bags, I guess.
Oh, like regular?
Yeah, just regular trash bags with
kitchen bags?
Yeah, with the red drawstring things or whatever.
Okay. And you took them out
to the dumpster?
To the dumpster?
Yeah.
And you did that on your way out to leave, or did you take that out?
I took them out and I came back in to get my stuff and then I left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was heading towards where I leave my stuff and then I saw that, so I was like, screw it, threw it away, came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
I went home.
So you go home, and you come back the next day at what time?
About 9:30ish. I'd gotten there early because I made good time. And I saw that there were 2 police vehicles parked over by the parking area before you get into the garage. So I stopped, went over to the officers, identified myself as the security officer for the building, just because I, want to know what's going on. I figured maybe there was a car accident or something like that. At which point, they told me they were here doing a check on
the well-being?
Yeah, well-being, or actually I think they said missing persons, because I figured there were a couple of people there that I guess were, they identified as their friends.
Okay.
And they asked me if I had a way to get into any of the apartments, which I don't. And he's like, oh, well, could you go to this apartment and meet the officer there? I'm like, yeah, sure. Go into the building, park, go over to the third floor, and I meet with the officer, and he's there punching in numbers, trying, I guess, checking to see if it was a police officer override code for these kind of locks or something. But he couldn't access it. And he asked me if I had keys. I'm like, no, don't have access to the apartments.
So when you got there, were you in uniform that time?
No, I was wearing a Deadpool shirt and pants and, my shoes.
So did you change first before you went up there, or you just went?
No, I went straight there because I wasn't actually on duty yet. I was still off duty.
Okay.
And when we, couldn't get access to officers, like, well, if you want to go change, go ahead. We'll still be here. I'm like, okay.
So how did they get into the apartment?
I honestly do not. I think they either got a hold of either the family or the actual owner of the condo who was renting it, and they had the code.
Okay.
I pretty much, once they were doing their thing, I pretty much stayed away from them because I didn't want to, bother them. And if they needed me for anything, they just called me.
Okay. And so, when was the first time you found out that she was deceased?
It was later on that evening.
About what time?
I honestly don't remember. I remember them saying that they, initially when they told me something was going on, they said, well, we have a crime scene, and that's all we're telling you. Because I'm like, okay, well, I got to call my boss. And later that night, I guess the property manager said that either they told her or she overheard, I can't quite remember, but they said that they discovered a body.
Okay, so. Now, have you heard how she died at all?
No, I mean, I heard a lot of, possibilities, because I was talking to my boss, and he's like, well, based on what you said, I mean, she was that drunk, she could have died in her sleep from alcohol poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
I have been following the news, and I guess now they're saying that this is a homicide investigation, so I'm assuming...
Well, when they don't know...
Oh, they assume stuff like that?
They always investigate as a homicide until they can rule it otherwise.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I still, other than what the news has said, I just know what I've been told by the property manager, the officers, and my boss, which hasn't been much.
Okay, so you have no idea whether her cause of death is?
No.
No, okay. Never overheard anybody say anything about that, or you have any speculation as to how she may have passed?
No.
Okay.
I mean, other than, like I said, what they told me, I mean, as bad as it sounds, I kind of hope it was, she just died of alcohol poisoning, because if not, it's like,
How old was she?
I don't know,
Guesstimation.
in her 20s maybe?
Wow, that young?
I mean, it could be mid to late 20s, I don't know, I'm terrible at judging ages. I mean,
Okay.
when I first met my mother-in-law, I thought she was in, her mid to late 50s, turns out she's almost 80 years old.
Wow.
Then again, she's Asian, so, they kind of are hit or miss. Yeah, they look young forever, or they turn ancient in a heartbeat. And my wife has actually been mistaken for a high school student a few times.
Well, God bless her.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay. So, let's see here. All right. Well, I'm doing some kind of formulating some kind of questions in my head based on what you're telling me. Okay. What can you tell me about polygraph?
It's a lie detector. I know you're going to be sticking electrode things or whatever, basically sensors to me, and it's going to measure my response based on the questions you ask me.
Yeah, yes and no.
Kind of it.
The media back in the early 20s dubbed it as a lie detector. That's not really a lie detector. It's no more a lie detector than it is a truth detector.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what I'll be doing is constantly recording your physiological changes in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are those? You ever heard of fight, flight, or freeze?
Yep.
Okay.
I encountered that personally.
Exactly. So that's basically how it works, is the way our bodies react to certain dangers or stresses, okay? Obviously, you're probably nervous here today because you've never had a polygraph.
Yeah.
Your nervousness is not going to affect the test whatsoever, okay? What's going to happen, you've never had a polygraph before, you said earlier?
No.
Okay.
I never actually got a top secret security clearance, so I never was required to take one in the Air Force.
Okay, well, it's not a big deal. We'll talk about it, and I'll explain everything to you before we even get started. And since you've never had a polygraph before, I'll give you a sample test.
Okay.
And there's a few reasons for that. One, it'll allow you to have the components attached to you and actually go through a test, see what it's like, and realize that nothing here is going to hurt you. There's not going to be anything shocking you, nothing nothing like that. The worst thing about it is the blood pressure cuff. Okay, your hand will get tingly a little bit. That's all it is. I'm sure you've been to the doctors before and you had your blood pressure checked.
Yeah, actually, that happens to me even without it. Like, I could just be sitting like this, and this whole side of my arm will go numb.
And what causes that? That muscle?
That's actually something I just remembered now. I have actually been diagnosed as having myopathy, is it, or something like that? In this arm, but I'm pretty sure it's in both, on the nerves on this part of the arm. But they assume it's just because of the way my arms rest when I'm typing at the keyboard that it's caused some
Kind of like a carpal tunnel thing, kind of thing?
kind of, but instead of like it causing pain, it just causes numbness.
Okay. Well, good. It may actually help you not feel pressure from the cuff.
Awesome. Yeah, so I honestly, some of my medical stuff, unless it's like something major, I really don't pay that much attention to it, which is probably not a good idea.
Well, we'll do the sample test. We'll go over that whole thing, and then we'll get into a couple of different. I'll do a couple different kind of tests. And the reason that they wanted you to come down is they're trying to clear everybody that was even associated with her near the time of her death. Okay, and so
from what Detective Montfort told me, there's a pretty good chance that I'm probably the last person that saw her alive. If that other guy, if it was actually her, I saw with that other guy.
Well, the good thing is many years ago, because I've been doing this for 17 years. Before I started doing this, I got accused of doing something that I didn't do. Not saying you're being accused of anything, but I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure that the detectives would have been treating differently if
you've been approved. I mean, it's just a matter of elimination. Like I said, when they have someone who passes away and they're not sure, they have to treat it like a homicide. So, but many years ago, I got accused of something I didn't do, and the detective offered me a polygraph, and it was able to vindicate me. And so after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help other people. And this comes in handy, especially in cases like this, because I'm able to, clear a bunch of people doing, not doing what they are claiming to do, or in this case, just making sure that there's nothing else to it, and it gives the detective, okay, we can say that we investigated that part and we're moving on. And they still have a bunch of stuff that they're waiting on anyway. So getting back to the fight, flight, or freeze. You all drive all the way here from Port Orange 4 times a week. How do you get here? I-4?
Yeah, I take I-4.
Okay. So I can almost assure you that driving all the way here from I-4, there's certain times where you're driving and you've been that corner and there's that damn state trooper in the median.
Actually, no, I can see that from quite a ways away, but yeah.
Well, but when you see them, what happens?
Nothing. I'm already going about 60, 65 miles an hour, so I'm not worried.
You never had one where you're like, oh crap.
No, I've had that happen a few times.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at. When your mind looks over and perceives, oh crap, I might get a ticket. Whether you're speeding or not, you still do that. You're just like, and because you're not 100% sure that you're speeding or not. So you look down, but you freeze and your foot comes off the gas. You're not thinking of doing that. Your mind automatically does it. It calls the autonomic system. Okay, and that's the survival mechanism we all have in our brain that's attached to our nervous system. So when your mind perceives danger of getting in trouble or anything like that, it reacts in order to prepare yourself to survive that situation. So you see the trooper and you freeze up, your foot comes off the gas, you're looking at it, it's like, oh shit, I'm only going 5 over, who cares? And you keep looking, and he doesn't come out. So, but what's going on inside you when you freeze and your foot comes off is that your autonomic system sends a signal down to your adrenal gland, starts producing adrenaline. So what does that do to you?
Gets you ready to fight or flight.
Right, it raises your heart rate, your breathing will change, and you'll feel that cold flash come over you, that
yeah, it's like that tingly feeling of like, okay, something's going down kind of thing.
Yeah, you'll sweat a little bit, when you get nervous, you always see people go like this, with their hands.
Yeah.
So all that stuff's going on, and you're not telling your body to do that. You're not consciously thinking, okay, heart rate, speed up, breathing change, okay, I need you to sweat a little bit, I need to cool down because my heart rate went from here to here in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of that. It's all doing that automatically, okay? So all that stuff's going on, and then the trooper doesn't come out, and you realize, okay, he's not going to be coming out after me. So what happens?
You relax.
Right,
Your heart goes back down.
Exactly. There's no more danger of getting in trouble, so everything comes back down to normal. Okay? So that's what the polygraph does. It's measuring your heart rate, it's measuring your breathing, and it's measuring your electrical activity in your fingers. Now, what does that mean? We're all electrical beings, neurons, electrons, all that stuff. So we also sweat, okay? And so we have this finger plates that go on your fingers, and it'll be constantly recording whether your electrodermal activity is more resistant or more conductive. So when you sweat, it's going to become more conductive. So it'll be constantly recording that.
That could be bad though, because I sweat like a pig in Florida.
We all do.
Yeah, like I'm from in the northern area of New Hampshire. I'm right on the Canadian border.
Right. What this does is,
sorry.
Like I said, I'm going to calibrate the system to you, not the person I tested earlier today. So all that stuff, I want to get it to, because you're going to be normal the whole time you're here. Okay. The only difference is if there's a stressor that kicks your autonomic system in. Okay. And the stressors that I'm going to be giving you are certain questions. Okay. Now, did you do any research online about polygraph? Because I know you were told about this yesterday. It's okay if you did, but there's good stuff and bad stuff out there.
I mean, honestly, I figured it probably would be better not to. That way I don't overstress myself. I just based on what I know from TV, movies, and shit like that, that's pretty much all I know.
Okay. Only reason why I ask is, like I said, there's good stuff and bad stuff out there. Just be mindful, and the reason I ask this, and I tell this to everybody, is that, the bad stuff is there's people out there that claim they can teach you how to defeat a polygraph. Okay, we got the little tack in the shoe and do this and do that.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Yeah. What they failed to tell you is, that's a pain reaction.
Yeah.
Pain looks different than emotion on the charts. But they don't tell you that, though, because they're not polygraph examiners. They don't know what they're talking about. They just think that they...
Plus, that probably did work back in the day before the technology probably got more refined.
It's very refined now. This instrument is very sensitive. Any of the questions I give you, you're not going to have that big, oh crap,
just
reaction.
Slight one or something.
Yeah, this is very sensitive instruments, and it'll pick up the slightest little deviation in your physiological changes in your body. We'll have the blood pressure cuff. You want to put that on your forearm, and not up here, because, like I said, your hand will get a little tingly, but I don't want to make you any... discomfort. Yeah. And that's measuring your systolic blood pressure, your heart rate. Okay. Then there's these funny looking tubes over here. Looks like accordions.
Yeah.
One's going to go in your upper chest, the other one's going to go in your upper abdomen.
Okay.
And that measures your breathing. Okay. There's a rubber band inside, and just inhale, exhale is all it does. Okay. Then you have the finger plates, like I said. They're going to go in your right hand. One's going to go in your index finger.
Oh, there. Yep.
And the other one's going to go on your ring finger, on your right hand. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason we do that is because it spreads out the electrical field, so that when it becomes more resistant, more conductive, it'll have a better reading. Okay. Lastly, there's that funny looking pad you sat on. Did you even see that?
Yeah, I did. I noticed that. I'm feeling on my butt.
Normally, it would have been inside the chair.
Okay.
Okay. I just have a different belief system than most polygraph examiners. I believe that if I expect you not to come in and have anything to hide, why should I hide anything from you? So that's kind of like my olive branch to everybody. Instead of sliding in the seat pad behind, and you're not knowing, just like, why is this cord coming from the chair? I put it out there for everyone to see. I have nothing to hide from you. This is your test, not mine. Right.
I appreciate it. I like the honesty.
Hey, well, that's what this all is. It's all about integrity and just being honest. You only need two things here to pass the test, and that's 100% honesty and 100% cooperation. That's all you need. Okay? The seat pad is there. It's not a scoreable marking on the charts. All it is there for is a countermeasure detector that measures your lower body movement. You wiggle your little pinky toe, I'll be able to see it on the chart. You squeeze your butt or anything, I'll see it on the chart. These are all, we're all trained to detect countermeasures. And only someone using countermeasures is someone that has something to hide. So I also look for those during the test. And like I said,
now I do have a tendency to wiggle my toes and stuff like that. I'm just normally without the what should you want? Should I try not to do that for this?
Yeah, remember I said 100% cooperation? Yep. Now only during the test. The test usually lasts about 5 minutes apiece.
Okay.
Okay? The thing during the test itself, I'm going to ask that you do not move whatsoever except for breathing normal. I need you to breathe. That's very important.
Oh yeah, otherwise I'll pass out.
Extremely important. Don't think about the breathing or anything. I just need you to, I'm going to have you face on the wall. Not me, because I don't want to be a distraction to you. Okay?
I hope I close my eyes too.
No, don't have your eyes open.
Okay.
Okay? Just find you a nice little spot on the wall. And you'll find a spot and just stare at it or whatever. But just be relaxed. I'm going to have your feet flat on the floor just like you are, and sit straight up, look straight ahead, eyes open. Do not move, and answer each question with simply yes or no.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. Any questions of me so far?
No, not really. I mean, you're telling me everything I need to know, I think. I mean, you're telling me you're not trying to hide anything from me, which is awesome. I like that.
That's not my role. That's really not my role. All I'm here to do is, they requested that. I run some tests. You're not the only one being tested.
I'm sure.
So it's just a part of their investigation.
Which is perfectly fine, which is why I agreed to come in for this.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, you shouldn't have any reason to hide anything anyway. So, the sample test. The sample test is just a play on numbers. Okay, it has nothing to do with why we're here today. It's just specifically there. Well, it's twofold. One of it is because you never had a polygraph. It allows you to feel what it's like to take a test. Realize nothing's going to hurt you. Two, it allows me to calibrate system to you, not the person I tested earlier.
Yeah.
And there's a third reason, but I'll explain that here in a second.
Okay.
What I need you to do, and this is just a play on numbers, has nothing to do with why we're here today.
Okay.
All right, it's just a sample test so you can get through it. All right. What I need you to do is on these lines right here, I need you to write the numbers 92, 93, all the way through 98.
Okay.
Big enough so you can see it. Now, what I need you to do is circle number 95. Real big. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to practice how this test is going to go. These are the questions on the test. Okay. Regarding the number you circled on that piece of paper, did you circle number 92?
No, I did not.
Just a simple yes or no? Okay. Did you circle number 93?
No.
Did you circle number 94?
No.
Did you circle number 95?
Yep.
Excellent. However, what I want you to do on this particular test, and this test alone, is when I ask you if you circle number 95, I want you to say no. Okay? So write the word no next to here. And what are you doing when you say no?
Lying.
Write the word lie. All right. And like I said, this is the only time I want you to do this. Okay?
Yep.
Did you circle number 95?
No.
Did you circle number 96?
No.
Did you circle number 97?
No.
Did you circle number 98?
No.
Excellent. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to see what it looks like when you lie.
Okay.
All right?
Yep. Hopefully it doesn't look the same as when I tell you the truth.
It won't. See, the basic thing is when you were this little and you were able to, when you started getting into trouble, and you lied to your mom about something, what happened when she caught you lying?
You got it beaten.
Okay, you got in trouble, right? So as you got older, it got worse and worse, right?
Yep.
Because lying is what?
Bad.
right? And you've been taught that since you were very little, so it's instinctive to you. So what happens is your first pet was cat, okay? And when I asked you that, you kind of looked up, and then you had a picture of what that cat looked like. A vivid picture, just like you watched on TV, right?
Yeah.
And that's how our brain works. It's like a big DVR. It stores all our memories. So when we ask a particular question, it'll go over, select that memory, and project it like on your forehead, and you'll see it, okay? So when I asked you that, boom, you saw the picture, cat. That was the first answer. Now, if you wanted to lie to me and say it was a dog, you would have had to process that. So your first initial thing was going to say cat. So if then you're like, well, I want to say it's a dog though. So now you're engaged in another part of your brain.
And there'll be a slight delay.
Not only a slight delay, but that causes your autonomic system to kick in because you know you're about to lie. And what happened when you used to lie? It was bad. You used to get in trouble. So when you do that, your autonomic system will kick in. Okay. Whether you realize it or not, it's going to do that because you're programmed from when you're this big, that lion's back. And you never wanted to get caught lying, did you?
Nope.
There you go. So that's why it works. Okay. So you see how quick you were with cat? So it's going to be the same thing here. You're going to look at it, and because I'm going to put it on the wall so you can see it. So as I'm asking you questions, I want you to just go right down the list. And you're going to see that. And you say, your first response is going to be yes. But you're going to have to decide to say no. And that's going to cause a problem. With your physiological changes, it'll show up. All right? Make sense? Yeah, makes sense. All right. So any questions or concerns so far? Need to use your restroom or anything?
No, I'm just feeling a little tired. That's the only problem right now.
All right. Well,
This is normally when I'm supposed to be sleeping. So.
Well, we'll get you to do this. Do you have a cell phone on you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I left it in the car. I figured it'd probably not be a good thing to bring in here.
Excellent. Yeah, I turned mine off. So I just didn't want anything to be a distraction for you. Didn't want it to vibrate in your pocket and cause a reaction like this because now you automatically thought about it.
Yeah, that's vibrating.
All right, go ahead and stand up for me and you remove the chair. Okay. All right, have a seat. Okay. All right, what I need you to do is put your hands together like you're praying and lift them up and lean forward and lean back. I'm just going to go in your upper abdomen here. What I need you to do to exhale. All right, next one's going to go in your upper chest. No, I don't need to do it. And exhale again. All right, now put your arms down, and you should feel a little, then relax a little bit. Left arm up.
Is it easier with this rolled up or no?
Nah, that's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
That's cool. Better like that. All right. Now you see the space in between here? That's where the customs go. Okay. All right, your index finger. And your ring finger. All right. So, like I said before, instructions are very simple. Feet flat on the floor, sit straight up just like you're sitting. Relax. And I'm gonna put this on the wall before we start. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, okay, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. All right. When I say that, no more moving until I tell you, okay, you now can relax, and I'll take the pressure off the cuff.
Okay.
All right. What I'll do first is I'm going to calibrate your breathing and your electrical activity, your fingers. And lastly, I'll do the cardio because I don't want that on there for a long period of time. All pumped up. 1 second. Gotta put your information there so it starts a file for you.
I wish I'd had some caffeine. I'm getting a little naughty here.
That's okay. I'm about to get started, so I'll start stimulating you a little bit.
Okay.
All right, all of that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pressure in your cuff.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it to a certain pressure, and then I'm going to ask you here in a second. Right now, what I need you to do is make a fist with your left hand, squeeze your whole arm. Okay, now relax, and do it one more time. And relax, all the way, relax. And I'm going to take the pressure off a little bit. And what that did was it took the extra air pockets out of the cuff, so I get a nice clean tracing. Nice. All right. You ready to do this number test here?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Regarding the number you circled on that piece of paper, did you circle number 92?
No.
Did you circle number 93?
No.
Did you circle number 94?
No.
Did you circle number 95?
No.
Did you circle number 96?
No.
Did you circle number 97?
No.
you circle number 98?
No.
Did you deliberately lie to any of the questions on this test?
No. Oh, wait, was I supposed to say yes to that one?
Don't worry about it. All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still while I take the instrument out of operation. All right, you can relax.
So I wasn't really thinking on that last one. I figured that would be kind of like the 95 that you wanted me to say no.
Oh, you did fine.
Awesome.
Well, definitely the polygraph is a good tool for you. You're definitely a capable reactor. I can see it. It works well. So this will be all right. Question for you though.
Yes.
What is your normal heart rate?
I have no idea why. Is it high?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noticing, like, was it like 130 or 140 or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 138.
Yeah, that's what they were getting towards the end of my career in the military. Even when I went to the VA, it was kind of high.
For a resting heart rate?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the last couple of years I was on a profile because of the rhabdo thing, because they kept trying to test me. They were contemplating doing a med board on me. So I kind of out of shape.
It's okay. I was just curious because when I saw it that high, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Making sure there wasn't any medical issue there.
No, well, I also noticed when I'm tired, my heart rate seems to be pretty high also for some weird ass reason. When I'm tired.
Okay. So the first kind of test we're going to do is, it's kind of like a weird test. It's called, it's basically to find out if you have any knowledge as to how Sasha ended up being deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you very specific questions.
Okay.
All right. So just like we went over the numbers question, I'm going to go over the questions before the test. Okay.
Okay.
These are going to be very simple and straight to the point.
Okay.
It's going to basically this is how it's going to go. Do you know if Sasha was poisoned?
Now, do you want me to answer these now? No.
Was she shot with a 22?
No.
Was she stabbed?
No.
Was she choked?
No.
Was she shot with a 38?
No.
Was she hit with a hammer?
No.
Was she hit with a chair?
No.
Okay. Plain and simple.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good.
All right.
I can feel my heart beating on these things.
That's okay. And actually, let me change this cuff and let you roll your sleeve up.
Okay.
Just to get better tracing. Let you roll your sleeve up.
That's not contagious.
I'm not worried about it.
Well, I just didn't want you to worry about, like, having a, well, I'm pretty sure you're actually picking these things off anyway. After every person.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
All right. All right. So as far as the pressure on your cuff, I'm gonna bring it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was noticing it was actually keeping one of my fingers was raised.
Yeah, I'll back it up just a little bit because I was getting a really good tracing, but since I pulled your shirt up
Mhm.
and got skin, bare skin, I can back it up a little bit. So you just let me know when your hand feels good enough and we'll get started.
Okay.
You're good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. That one you said good enough, I meant like as you were applying it.
all right, squeeze a couple times for me like we practiced. Perfect, really. Do it one more time. And relax. All right, you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Do you know if Sasha was poisoned?
No.
Was shot with a .22?
No.
Was stabbed?
No.
Was choked?
No.
Was shot with a .38?
No.
Was hit with a hammer?
No.
Was hit with a chair?
No.
All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still while I take the instrument out of operation. relax.
I do not like having as vivid imagination as I do.
What do you mean?
Everything you said, I could just picture happening to it.
Well, we don't know if it was any of them.
I know, but
I'm asking specifically if you know.
I know. Just, I'm a security guard for the building. Supposed to be able to keep that place secure, make sure things don't happen.
Well, you know what? You can't be everywhere at once. Let's even look at it. We're being very specific here.
All right, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I get it, but it's very important for you to focus on the task at hand, okay?
Yes.
I'm asking you very specifically if you know something.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't.
And so, as I'm asking you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't think, just answer.
yep, and answer honestly,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yes, sir.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. Sorry, sorry I have to go through some problems before.
All right, well, let me know when you're ready to go. We're going to do this again. All right?
Okay, right.
All right, squeeze a couple times for me. Relax. One more time. And relax. Well, you're on the 150s now.
Oh, God. Just get that. That's fine.
All right, you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Do you know if Sasha was poisoned?
No.
Was she shot with a 22?
No.
Was she stabbed?
No.
Was she choked?
No.
Was she shot with a 38?
No.
Was she hit with a hammer?
No.
Was she hit with a chair?
No.
All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still. I take the instrument out of operation. All right, relax.
Damn, I'm gonna turn purple.
Like I said, the test lasts about,
5 minutes or so.
yeah.
Heart rate's so high.
Oh, yeah.
I know that heart disease runs in my family. Hopefully this isn't a precursor.
Okay. So we got that out of the way. Now, I want to go through some questions on this next test.
Okay.
All right. Now this is all specific as far as the incident at Uptown. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's more directed to make sure that you had no involvement in anything that may have happened to Sasha. All right.
Okay.
So these questions should be very specific for you, and you should have no problem answering these questions.
Okay.
All right. Because what we talked about, I did, after we talked, I jotted down some questions. So here are the questions that I'm going to ask you about that night.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
No.
Okay. Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
No.
Did you cause Sasha's death?
No.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
No.
Okay. Very straightforward, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now some of the questions are kind of about you. It's about your character. Whether or not you're the kind of person that would do something like this if it was something that, if something was to happen to her by somebody else, that you weren't the kind of person that would do that. And, the FBI has done all these profiling and they did all this research and interviewed and did all these studies as far as people who would do something like this would do other things, okay? And based on that, I've come up with some questions as far as to make sure that you're not that kind of person. Okay, so if I was to ask you, before last year, did you ever threaten anyone with physical harm?
Well, does jokingly count? I mean,
No, we're talking serious.
Actual. Okay. Sorry.
Did anyone piss you off so much that you threatened them with physical harm? You're not that kind of person, right?
No. You'd have to do something to actually provoke me to that level.
Right.
So no.
Okay. Perfect.
Sorry, because my friends and I joke like that all the time.
No, we're not talking joking. We're talking
actual. Threaten and mean to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Prior to 2006, were you ever so angry with someone that you wanted to hurt them?
Yes.
Okay. What was that incident about?
Someone's knocking at the door.
No, that was my foot.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well,
What incident comes to mind?
the uncle that raped me when I was 9 years old.
Okay, so you didn't tell me about that.
But
I didn't ask, but.
yeah, no,
Okay.
not something I'm proud of, but yeah, not someone I'd really just skip over if something bad happened to them.
Let's see here.
Sorry, I didn't realize that would be.
No, and I'm not trying to get your personal past.
No, I understand. It's something I've come to terms with, and it's just, he lives here in Florida somewhere. And hopefully I never run into him.
All right, so if I was to ask you, before last summer, have you ever lost control of your behavior because of your temper?
No.
Okay. All right, and then there's going to be a few questions. They're called technical questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
Do you work at Vital Security?
Yes.
Do you now live in Port Orange?
Yes.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Okay. So, any questions or concerns about any of those?
No.
No? Okay.
Burping in between isn't going to cause an issue with the thing, is it? I hope. I don't know why I'm really gassy right now.
Just try to control it and breathe normal. Like I said, these tests last about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll get you in.
Hopefully I just got all of them out.
You ready to go?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right, squeeze a couple times for me. And relax. Squeeze one more time. And relax. All right, you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
Do you work for Vital Security?
Yes.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
No.
Do you now live in Port Orange?
Yes.
Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
No.
Before this year, did you ever threaten anyone with physical harm?
No.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Did you cause the death of Sasha?
No.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
No.
Before last summer, have you ever lost control of your behavior because of your temper?
No.
All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still. I take the instrument out of operation. You can now relax. 5 minutes and 10 seconds. So we're doing good.
Say, well, God, this is all over. I can just focus on the move and wedding.
I'm going to get you. I'll let you relax your hand for a minute, get that blood going back here. What we're going to do is we're going to do at least 2 more of those exact same tests, same questions, same answers, and just in case if there's any anomalies in the charts, I'll run an additional 1 or 2. Because I basically need at least 3 good charts in order to score it properly for you.
Okay.
All right.
Everything looking good though?
Yeah. Everything's looking great. Excellent.
What time is it right now?
It is 5:20. So if everything goes well, I only have 2 more of these to do. They're 5 minutes apiece.
I'm just trying to figure out how much time I'm going to have to lay down between now and work before I have to drive back this way. I don't have to be to work till 11 tonight. So leave by 9:30. I might be able to lay down for an hour. Or I might stick on my boss and say, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight.
Well, let's worry about this.
Okay. Sorry.
This is more important, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry. The way my head goes, I just go think of everything. I try to plan ahead for everything. I've been for 2 hours already. Almost 2 hours.
It takes a little while, I did your background, talk for a little bit. Mm-hmm. The test is actually doesn't take very long.
Yeah, just everything else leading up to it.
Yeah, I just got to get a better, generalized idea about who you are, the kind of person you are, and then a little bit about the knowledge of the case, and then boom. Just let me know when you're ready. You good?
Yeah, good to go.
All right. And give me a couple squeezes. Relax. One more time. And relax. All right, you ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
Do you work for Vital Security?
Yes.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
No.
Do you now live in Port Orange?
Yes.
Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
No.
Before this year, did you ever threaten anyone with physical harm?
No.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Did you cause the death of Sasha?
No.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
No.
Before last summer, have you ever lost control of your behavior because of your temper?
No.
All right, the test is almost complete. Please remain completely still while I take the instrument out of operation. All right, relax. Doing okay over there? All right.
That's tired. I had to wake up early today because I had to take my wife to work. Night class. It's going to be a long night tonight at work, I just know. Luckily it's Thursday. Thursdays are usually pretty quiet because everyone has to work Friday.
All right, if this one all goes as planned, I think this is the last one we need to do.
Awesome. Good to go.
Yeah. You just let me know when you're
Ready? Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yep.
Trying to get my hand to be at least a
Yeah, take your time. This is your test, man. It's not mine. So you take your time. You let me know.
Yeah, it's still an itch. No, I know I don't like getting my blood pressure taken. Always.
It's a little different, but
Yeah, but you know, it's still that you actually don't do it as tightly as they would start. My hand would just be like literally like just throbbing.
Yeah, that's why
I fingertips.
that's why I back off as much as I can.
Yeah.
Still get a good tracing. So
yeah, so theirs is actually automatic too. Theirs will actually automatically back off up to the last point, but even that's still like a feel in my fingertips. Anyway. All right, let's get this going.
all right. All right, squeeze a couple times for me. And relax. One more time. And relax. All right, you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
All right, the test is about to begin. Please remain completely still and answer each question with a simple yes or no. Is your first name Stephen?
Yes.
Do you work for Vital Security?
Yes.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
No.
Do you now live in Port Orange?
Yes.
Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
No.
Before this year, did you ever threaten anyone with physical harm?
No.
Were you born in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Did you cause the death of Sasha?
No.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
No.
Before last summer, have you ever lost control of your behavior because of your temper?
No.
All right, the test is almost complete. Did you make it clear you still want to take the instrument out of operation? Actually, Stephen, you've impressed me as a pretty intelligent person here today. What I need you to do is multiply 7 times 31. I need you to hurry up. I don't have much time.
Okay. 218.
Okay. Now you get to relax.
Right. So 31.7.
Remember?
Wow, I am bad at math.
You're only one off.
My wife would make so much fun of me for that. Like, why you gonna be like Asian? Yeah, I was gonna say, Dan, I'm talking, was that mine or yours?
Oh, it was mine. Let me get all this stuff off of you.
Yay, my hand is almost the right color again.
See, it wasn't all that bad.
Not at all.
It's just when people don't have an understanding of it, they get a little nervous about it. It's not, I've been in your chair hundreds of times. So not because it did anything. We, examiners, we tested, you have to track us.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Perfect. We know what?
Nothing good, I think. There we go.
And you stand up under the chair back. Do you need any water? Do you go to the bathroom or anything? You've been here a little bit?
No, I'll probably swing by the gas station or something on the way home and grab something. Feeling a little hungry.
Oh,
I shouldn't have done that long ago. Oh,
you can stand up, relax, stretch, do whatever you gotta do. So in your opinion, how was it?
a little difficult just because trying to keep my mind still from doing what we normally do when I hear things, especially with what's been going on. Like when I knew we do the first one, because all I could do was think about all those horrible things. But, I mean,
No, I'm just saying, as far as your opinion about polygraph.
oh, sorry. Actually, wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
No?
No.
Not that bad.
No, not at all. Kind of neat, actually. I mean, I was actually surprised by these things here. The ones that went around my chest and my abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of neat. Because usually when you see it, like, they've got like the sensors like they do for EKGs. I've never seen something like this. What is it?
That's TV. That's how it used to only be just one.
Mm-hmm.
But then they come to realize that
People breathe from here and from here.
women and men are usually different.
Mm-hmm.
Men, we're slobs, we have poor posture.
Yeah.
So we're what we call belly breathers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the upper abdomen is. Women usually have a better posture. They sit up and they're chest breathers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now they've included both just in case, because that's not excluding that men couldn't be chest breathers and women can't be belly breathers.
Exactly.
So,
Can't be sexist.
nope. When I first started, it used to have either just that or just a blood pressure cuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started adding stuff to it, and now we have what we have today.
I'm sure someday they'll probably actually figure out a way to actually tell when someone's lying. The only problem is, the age-old question: what happens when someone honestly believes in their own lie? How can you tell that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's a lot of waves.
That's what it does.
Cool.
Hope I have enough paper fall. I honestly hate. It's like the register paper,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone has a problem speeding it through, and this is even more of a pain in the butt.
That's thermal paper, right?
It's fax paper. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate how they, when I used to work in a convenience store, I hated how they changed to thermal paper instead of the old way for the Powerball tickets. Because now you make a mistake, you're leaving your wallet too long, you're leaving your car on a hot day, it can actually ruin the paper. So, crap, I can't read the numbers, or the barcode's gone. So you get the winning ticket, well, you're too bad. Yeah, we're going to keep the money.
That's ridiculous.
Tell me about it.
It's all a scam anyway, just trying to make money.
Yeah, all the money's supposed to go to school. Well, no, it does go to this. No, it does go to the school. The thing is, then they ship the money that was already there for the school out so that it stays even.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not how it should be. No, that lottery money should be for extra stuff. Still got that question wrong. I am not telling my wife about that. Looks like it's raining on paper. Oh, there we go.
All I got.
Why, you have like multiple ones you gotta turn off? Oh, every one to get it, right?
Yeah.
We did 4 or 5?
Well, for the main issue, we did 3.
Okay.
And then I gotta print out the other charts, the first 2 that we did. So technically, there's 6 charts. The sample test, and the 2, it's that first 2 tests we did about maybe how she was died, and then 3 on actual specifically questions about you and possible involvement in this. Oh man.
Yes, I'm not sure, probably is not comfortable over there.
Yeah, I've been running tests all day.
Damn. We have some lectures like that in my duty station. Sit in them for 12 hours though. It doesn't matter how comfortable that chair is. Oh my god, after a while you just don't want to sit. It also doesn't help that the counter is up here and the chair doesn't rise that high.
Yeah.
And having to go in the clean room and make up all the meds and IVs. Night shift was somewhat better for that, except for when there was issues with labor and delivery. Because when they wanted something, they wanted it right then and there, and they didn't care if anyone else was more important. And I told them, look guys, I'm sorry, but I have a very set rank of importance. ER, critical stuff. ICU, ER, regular stuff. You guys, and the floors. And they didn't seem to understand that. One of the other night techs who also went to tech school with me, who happened to be stationed at my same first duty station, she actually had the commander of labor and delivery come over one night and just started screaming at her because she would not give them narcotics for the patient who was in pain. I'm sorry, but the patient was listed on this person shops around for drugs, so they can only get narcotics from this pharmacy. And the colonel was like, you're going to go arrest me.
Sorry, when it comes to narcotics, you don't have rank.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a federal law.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, because well, basically pharmacy, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care who you are. You could be the president. I outrank you when it comes to pharmacy if I'm in that pharmacy. Because I'm not risking my job over a federal offense.
No, sir.
I actually almost got a captain in trouble because rather than do things the right way, he just felt like doing it the easy way. He had taken back from a doctor some narcotics that a patient had.
No.
Yeah, he should not. Well, he was a baby captain, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway on that. Still, And he told one of my airmen, oh my God. Yeah, that thing was tight. Actually burst a few blood vessels in my hand.
Burst them.
Those little red dots in the back of my hand. Those weren't there when I came here. What was that one for? Usually that happens when I retch too hard. All the blood vessels around my eyes, right here. It look like I have two black eyes.
Well, are you susceptible to that? Does it happen routinely
Well, for the retching, yes. So that happens quite often. I've never actually noticed it ever happening like this before. So I don't know. Could just be a fluke.
These other two. Let's do all three.
Yeah, but that captain, he tells one of my, like I said, he told one of the younger airmen, just dump them in the pill box. I'm like, no, you're not. Well, the captain told me to. Give me that. And I call the captain. And I tell him, sir, I don't feel comfortable doing this because these are narcotics.
And we don't know if they altered or did anything to the pills, and then you're going to dispense them to...
No. Anything we take back like that, it's get destroyed anyway. Right. We would never give it back to another patient. Even if it's perfectly sealed, it's impossible, it could have possibly been tampered with, we still will destroy it. Because the moment it leaves our control, it is no good after that. But, no, basically, he took it back to destroy them. And we don't do that with narcotics. And he still did it. So the airman was going to do it, and I told him no. And the airman was actually ignoring me, and I outranked him. And I told him, the second time, I'm like, okay, look, I'm asking you right now, where did you put those pills? Because he was hiding them from me because he was just going to do what the captain said and ignore me. And he's like, I'm not telling you. I'm like, okay, that was me asking. Now, as an E4 to an E2, I implore you to tell me where those pills are. Before I call security forces. And finally, he relented, and I talked to the captain. The captain's like, well, yeah, I know I shouldn't have done it, but just destroy them one. All right, fine, but I'm going to be filing a form, and I'm going to be having you sign this as soon as you come into work, first thing in the morning, because I am covering my ass on this. And I did a memorandum for record on it. I crushed the tablets, and I mixed them with used coffee grounds. That's what it's supposed to do. And then I dumped it into the pill container, into the pill box, like I'm supposed to.
Just hang tight, I'm going to go score, and I have to have another polygraph examiner review it, make sure I'm doing the best job I can for you.
Sounds good.
All right?
All right, I'll be here.
All right. If you need anything, just holler.
Will do.
All right.
Yes. Like I said, tired.
All right, Stephen. Oh. My hot mess of paper. All right. What I'm going to show you first is this one right here. All right. So you're not trained in polygraph, right?
No.
You don't have any training in polygraph, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So, and you don't see any of the questions on here, okay? So, looking down these questions, other than this, because I had to bring it down because you moved, what do you see that stands out to you?
Just kind of the wave pattern. That one right there with the down arrow.
Well, the down arrow means I moved it
Oh, okay.
because it was going down below, so I had to move it back up.
Okay.
It's kind of like this, see?
Oh, yeah.
But as you follow it, and you follow this one right here, which one is bigger and stands out to you?
That one.
Okay. The second one is the same thing. What jumps out at you?
And that one.
Okay, so this one. So it's always number 4. Okay. And you pick that out yourself. Okay. And you're not a registered or certified polygraph examiner, right?
No, no.
Okay. So, put this out of the way. Alright. So now, we're getting to the relevant issues on at hand. Alright. So, same applies here.
Okay.
What jumps out? I mean, just jumps off the page at you. Any particular, each line is a question.
Okay.
All right.
I know some bunch of them, they kind of, right at the beginning, they kind of loop up a little bit. Or up a lot in some cases.
At the beginning where it pointed out to me.
This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one.
Mm-hmm. Right, but we're looking for the ones that just jump out at you. The biggest changes you see.
I say these two.
Okay. And down here.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, I guess this one too.
Okay.
It's because they see the line and that goes up.
Okay. So you're seeing that yourself, right? All right. So you said R3, R5, R8, R9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whoa. Look at that. Something jumped out of that at you?
And that one, the line kind of goes up over the thing. That is good by line.
Yeah. Huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jumps right out at you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one that jumps real way out there?
Yeah, that one over there.
Okay.
Again, it goes over the line.
Okay, R8. This one look bigger than this one? And bigger than that one?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
No, I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, just not as big as the other two.
And you said R8's big,
Mm-hmm.
and not so much there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got R8, R5, R3. This is what's pretty cool about my job. I'll let you pick them out.
Mm-hmm. one again.
R3. Now compare this one, and this one.
I mean,
Well, you got not only got this, but you have this.
mm-hmm.
So out of these three, which one jumps out at you?
I don't know. It's just the way the line is up there, and I guess.
Yeah, it's not going as far as this. It's like from here all the way up here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars.
Okay.
Here, because I'm asking the question, so here's the line. So you got 1, 2. Okay, so this one, which was bigger? Which one has more lines?
This one has more lines.
Okay, so we got R3, R5, and this one and this one. Which one? And you can look at that. Okay. And one and a little bit. Between this and this. And this is a hot mess because that's when I asked you that multiple times.
Yeah.
But see how your whole heart rate went up like that? Okay. So it's kind of similar to this and that, right? Okay. Now you're picking out. So we're both in agreement. Now you're helping me grade this, okay? So you're telling me R3, and this has been consistent on every chart, right? So we got R3, R5, R8, and R9's questionable.
I guess, I wasn't really paying attention to the R parts.
But, well, these are the numbers that you've been picking on all the charts, okay? So now, read the question to R3.
Did you enter Sasha's apartment that night?
Read R5.
Do you know who caused Sasha's death?
R7. I'm sorry, R8.
Did you cause the death of Sasha?
And R9.
Did you remove any items from Sasha's apartment?
Okay.
Okay.
So basically what you told me, okay, I let you look at the charts. I let you tell me what jumped out of the screen off the charts at you.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
So we are of the same opinion that the only thing that really seems to be bothering you on this test is these relevant questions that pertain to the situation that we're here dealing with. So, how it's scored. All right, I'm just telling you all the technical stuff. Okay. So we score the relevant questions. Okay, and that's how we score. We compare the relevance to these other questions. Okay. Because, and this is how it works. I don't know if you did any research on it. Anyway. All right.
That should have been one of your questions.
That's okay. I thought about throwing that in there because we had advance warning, but to me it's not a big deal. I would, I see some issues with the breathing. I mean, when I'm able to count and it's constantly the same count, it shows me that, it's kind of questionable whether you were thinking about your breathing, but that's neither here nor there. Because I only need 2 of the 3 tracing, or here 4, to get a good score for the charts. Okay, so here's my score sheet. Relevant 3, 5, 8, and 9. Okay, the P is for the breathing. These are the 2, they're called pneumograph tubes. Okay, so it starts with a P. So you have the top one, bottom one. We look at the R3 compared to R6 and the 4. We compare them and we look for any differences. Here, for the most part, on all charts, I didn't really see anything different on any of the breathing. So your breathing didn't change at all during the charts. Okay. E is for the electrodromal activity, which is this middle line here. Okay. So what I do is I compare this. So I count. See these little squares or rectangles? I count how far it goes up compared to the control questions. Okay. And I compare those, and it either gets a plus or minus. In this case, when a person has more issues with the relevant question than they do the control question, then because we all know, and we've all had these issues where, you know, there's been a time in your life where we've had physical contacts or physical issues with people. Okay, we've been in fights, we've done all that stuff, and it's kind of, we know that, but when we ask the question, you know, that's supposed to bother you more because you know you're kind of lying about that because you're remembering an incident, compared to you shouldn't have any problem with the issue at hand if there was nothing involved there. Okay, so technically the control questions should look like this, and the relevance should look like the controls.
Okay. So what you're saying is this is not good?
This is not good.
Okay.
All I need is a -3 in any one of these spots. You got a -3 in all of them except for a -4 and a 0 and 1. For this to be a negative test.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what does that mean? That means you have some memory and some issues with these relevant questions. Okay. Now, you know, the issue is, my thing is after talking to you, I don't think you're a bad guy. You're a really smart guy. You seem to be a good guy. You've had some things happen in your life that's screwed up.
Yep.
And, you know, and you've had to deal with a lot more than most people had to do. And I get that. But there comes a time where sometimes things happen and people freak out. Okay? And they make a mistake and then they panic. And, you know, it comes to what would look better, you know, because right now there's, you know, the detectives, they have, you know, stuff they're looking at and they're getting reports back with, you know, all the forensic stuff they're doing. And I know you've been cooperating, and that's a huge, huge factor for you. Okay? That is huge. But the thing is, when it comes to this, okay, you know, obviously my report's going to say that you didn't do too good on this test.
Yeah.
All right, and I have to explain that. Okay? So, you know, I'm here to listen to you. If you want to talk and explain to me why you might have had some issues on these questions. Okay? Because if something happened, it was an accident, and you panicked because maybe, from what I understand, she was being very flirtatious to other people, and that's what got her there to the apartment, because those two girls grabbed her before she got in a car with some guys. And
I don't know about that.
No, I know you don't know. That happened before she got to the uptown. Okay. These girls didn't even know her, and that's why they told you.
Yeah.
We don't even know her. But what happened is they snatched her up and they got her away from those guys because she was being very, very flirtatious. Okay. And so, you know, based on this, there's something going on here. Okay. And so maybe she somehow talked you into coming in. Well, the chart's saying that you did. This is huge. And this is, did you enter her apartment?
No, I didn't.
All right, well.
I mean, the only thing, honestly, the situation is bothering me. I mean, about the whole thing about her. I mean, I'll be straight up. This whole situation has been bothering me. And just thinking about what may have happened is just...
And I understand that. But that's why I was very clear about clearing that up before we took the test.
I know.
All right? Because that was very important.
Yep.
Because that's why I kind of did the first test first to get that out of the way, explain to you and clear those issues up. All right? So that's very important. And because I wanted you to take the best test possible. Okay, that was my goal.
Yep.
And I think I succeeded in that.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying not to think of anything, just answer the questions, but...
And you yourself was able to pick out every spot that looked like a reaction.
Yep.
I didn't even have to point them out to you. Okay?
I'm good at analyzing patterns.
Okay. Well, without even being a polygraph examiner, you were able to show me each question you had an issue with. And every single one of them, on every single chart, was the relevant questions. So that means there's something there. There's something that you're not telling the complete truth about. Something's bothering you about this situation, and you're not being 100% honest with me about it. That's what I can tell you, and that's all I can tell the detectives, that there is something there that you're not being 100% honest about. Now, if she invited you in to have a few drinks or something like that, or whatever it was, you need to be honest about it, because this is saying you know something and that something happened. This is what this is telling me. And you yourself agreed that these were the situations.
That's something that points out, but I mean...
Like I said, sometimes things happen. If she was over flirtatious and something happened and you panicked, we can understand that. But if you conceal that and, all the evidence comes in and you had your opportunity today to talk about it, it's not going to look good, because if there was an accident, that's one thing that we can explain away. But if you don't talk about it and it comes back, it makes it look like you're, what? A monster. Okay? And I don't think you're that kind of person. Okay? The same stuff happened to you when you were little. You told me about that.
Yeah. And recently with the whole getting stabbed thing.
Right. So you told me about that. Okay? So you understand what it's like. And so, for that being said, you got to understand that we need to explain this stuff away. It's very important for you. Okay? You were the last person to see her. Okay? And based on your own opinions on this chart that you pointed out to me, okay?
Obviously
something's bothering you. We need to get this behind you is what it is, because, like I said, this can go either way. You can either look like a horrible monster, or an accident happened and you panicked, and we can explain that kind of stuff. But if you don't talk about it, it's not going to look good. And
I don't know what to talk about. I mean, nothing happened. I mean, I never went into her apartment. So, I mean, I don't know why it reacted the way it did.
Because your autonomic system that you can't control kicked in. You have no control over that. That's why this works so well. Now, let me show you another thing. One more thing. I'll show you. You heard of DNA evidence, right? Yep. Okay, so when it comes in, it says, 1 in whatever billion, million people. Okay. Now, what I do is, I won't trust computers. I hand-score my stuff. Okay? So now I'm going to let this do it. What's that say?
Significant reactions. Probably this is what was produced by a truthful person.
0.003% chance that the result was produced by a truthful person.
Damn.
0.003% chance that you were truthful on this test today. And that, what it does is it scores all 3 charts, okay?
Yeah.
And it does all its little algorithm stuff. You're into that kind of stuff, so see all these -3s? I mean, it's basically almost identical to my scoring. So not only did I have another polygraph examiner look at this, because what I did was I scored it, and he scored it, and then we compared the scores, and they were identical. And now you have this also. So how do we get past that? That's the issue.
I don't know.
I can only help you so much.
Okay? No, I understand. I mean, you've been very helpful explaining these things to me as it is.
I mean, it is what it is. It's, this is the report that detectives are going to get. So what I'll do is I'm going to explain to the... You come in? Hey, Dr. David, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks.
I was just showing you, this is the computer scoring the charts. 0.003% chance that the results were produced by a truthful person. So that's basically 99.7% chance that he's being deceitful. Okay, so now I'll let you guys talk. Are you okay, Steve?
Well, not anymore. Based on what this thing is telling me.
Steve, I've been doing this for a while. And I really don't think you're a bad person. I really don't. But sometimes good people do bad things. Does not make you a bad person. Sometimes you just overreact, or sometimes you could be enticed into doing something. One thing we're asking from you, Steve, is just the truth. It's just the truth. Okay? That's difficult for a lot of people. But you've been in the military. You have a lot of life experience. And I understand some bad things have happened to you in life.
Yep.
And lying is never going to make it better. Because I can see it in your eyes, Steve. I can see it in your eyes. Something has been laying heavy on your heart ever since you found out. It's been laying heavy on your heart. Have you thought about anything else?
Just that something bad's happened on my watch.
Something bad has happened. And we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it, Steve. There's certain things, obviously, that we already know. We know you were actually, you guys were on, how many floors were you guys on?
First floor, third floor.
Is that it?
That's what I can remember.
You don't remember being on the fourth floor?
No, not really, no.
No? Are you sure? Or something you don't want to remember?
I don't remember being on the fourth floor.
Listen to you. I will tell you this. I'm not saying Sasha was a bad person, but she was very flirtatious. Very. We were tracking her from downtown when she's trying to pick up guys. So,
She wasn't flirting with me. I mean, other than, leaning against me in the hallway because she could barely stand. But she wasn't flirting with me.
She never flirted with you?
No.
She never asked you to come inside the apartment?
No. If she had asked me to come inside the apartment, I would have told her no.
But this is the problem. According to what I'm looking at.
I know, but I've been asked by other residents in the past too to come into their apartments, and I've also told them no. I had one offer me sexual favors, and I declined. The only person who knows that other than me is my supervisor, because we didn't want to embarrass the resident because he was drunk at the time, or possibly just lonely and maybe tipsy. I don't know. I take my job seriously, and when my job says I'm not allowed to go into someone's apartment, I don't go into someone's apartment. The only time I would ever go into someone's apartment is with a detective like yourself, or a police officer, or an EMT or something, someone that I have to go in with because, doing something within my duties. Whereas,
So how do we explain this?
I don't know. I am bothered by the situation, I will tell you that, because something has happened to someone in the building that I'm responsible for, that I'm supposed to keep everyone safe. Yes, I've been bothered by this since the moment I saw and heard about the situation. It's been bothering me. I've been having a hard time sleeping because of this. I've been terrified of what's going to happen when I go to work tonight because I know I'm going to be having residents asking me questions. I might even have newspaper people trying to corner me. This whole thing is bothering me. And I knew this was going to end up happening because this is not the first time I've had police officers assume I did the worst thing.
When was the other time?
Juvenile record. The juvenile thing that I pled guilty despite the fact that I was innocent because I didn't want to destroy a friend of mine's family.
A couple of things.
Yes.
Just as the detective said, good, bad things happen to good people sometimes, right?
Yeah, I know that for a fact.
Well, I can relate to what you're going through. You know what? I sat in that chair for less than a year, hooked up to that machine, because I was accused of something very serious. Okay? And it's no joke. And it scared the shit out of me, because when you're accused of something, it scares you.
Yeah.
and it was on my mind, and I was nervous. My heart was beating real fast. But you know what? I passed. Okay? So I'm a big, huge believer in this machine. Alright, so we have to explain away. You can say that it's been going through your mind. You can say all those things. I understand that. Alright? Because I couldn't sleep either because I was accused of something very serious. And I still passed. Because I know I didn't do what I was accused of. Okay. Second thing is this. I know you take your job seriously. I believe you. I can see the way you carry yourself, the way you are there, a little bit that we saw you do take your job seriously. We looked at your reports. You're very serious. Methodical, what you think?
Yeah.
Meticulous?
Yes.
Don't miss anything?
Try not to.
For the most part, you would say you don't, right?
Yeah.
You document things, don't miss anything. Again,
like I said, try not to, but everyone's human.
Right. But for the most part, when you see a violation or something happens, you notate on your records, correct? Okay. So, with that being said, we have an issue.
Okay.
Okay. What garbage did you take out that day?
Some trash I found on my way out after I turned in my report.
Where did you find it?
I think it was on the second floor.
On the second floor?
Yeah.
What on what apartment?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? That's happened to you before?
What, not remembering? Or
No, find trash.
Yeah, usually I find it during my shift.
And what do you do with it?
Usually I just document it.
When was the last time you took trash out?
Usually don't, because when it's on my shift, I just deal with it.
Where was your car parked?
On the second floor.
Okay. And you said you were on your way out,
Yes.
but you came back in?
Yeah, because I had to get my stuff, and then I went back out and left.
So you weren't really on your way out?
I was on my way to get my stuff.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
So, we have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't report that, did you?
No, it was already after my shift was over.
But it's still a violation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
It looked
violated
yeah.
it. And you never mentioned it?
No, it was off my shift.
I understand that. I'm not saying it wasn't, but still, you say you document things, you don't miss things, right?
Yeah, once on my shift.
Right. So you understand how that's starting to look?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Right. Okay. So you take that with, we know you're on the fourth floor with her, right? Where did you first see her when she went inside?
She was, when I first saw her.
Well, I mean, your statement to us before was you went inside to go look for her, correct? Okay, where was the first place that you saw her when you found her?
So maybe it was the second or third floor. Maybe honestly, which floor?
Because your first statement, your written statement said you found her by her apartment. That's what your statement says.
Yes, I am.
So why does your statement say that?
You're confusing me.
I'm not trying to understand. Understand. No.
Understand,
I'm
I'm exhausted.
I know you're tired.
I'm nervous as hell right now because now you guys are basically accusing me of doing something.
No, sir. We're just trying to understand why we're getting the reaction we're getting, okay? That's it. Because we have to explain that. And we have an obligation to the family and to our superiors to be able to explain that. Because we say, well, you can't explain it.
It's not going
You understand. You got to do your job.
Yeah, it's just that when the whole bad things happen to people panic, stuff. I know how that sounds, and I know what that leads to.
What does that lead to?
It leads to, next thing I know, I'm a suspect. You guys think I did something bad.
We're just trying to understand why.
I'm bothered by these questions.
Yeah. And we understand, we're looking at your statement, your first written statement.
Yeah.
And I've seen you write reports. You write very detailed reports.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in this report...
on the spot, having to pick everything right from out of my head. I'm not very good on the spot.
It's mostly on the spot when they talk to you and you wrote a statement. It's just you didn't say.
Well, everything's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. I'm trying to remember everything that I can about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, to me, that's somewhat on the spot.
Okay.
Speaking.
Something happened that night. Something happened that night that we can't deny. We cannot deny that. I'm looking at Isn't this you?
Yep.
Okay. And where you guys at here?
That would be, that's the stairwell C that exits us onto Pasadena.
Okay. Why are you guys in the stairwell?
Because I was walking around with her.
Okay. So you were walking around with her?
Yeah.
Okay. See, you didn't tell us that.
Honestly, I slipped my mind.
We asked you, you said she came, she did not have the fob, so she could not get in.
Yeah.
A tenant allowed her to go in. And you tell us, then you start doing your rounds, and you encounter her on the 3rd floor.
That's on the 1st floor.
This is on the, absolutely. So you see the problem that we have?
No, I can understand what the issue is here.
Okay. You're gonna have to let it go. You're gonna have to tell the truth.
I am telling you the truth.
This will bother you. This will eat at you. It will eat at you the rest of your life. That I can guarantee. We can deal with the truth.
What will eat at me for the rest of my life?
That you're not being truthful.
I'm being truthful with you.
You say that, but there's just so many discrepancies in your statement. Things that even day one didn't make a lot of sense to us. Don't you think you should have allowed her to? Right. Okay. Shouldn't you have made sure that she was inside of her apartment?
Yeah, I should.
Okay. We see you guys coming from the parking garage, which you did tell the truth about, because you guys didn't quite make it, and something happened, and you guys come right back in. I think you said that she said she remembered the code. Okay. And you guys go right to her door, and she's punching in that code. Is that accurate? Because there's audio. I'm partially aware you have audio along with video.
Actually, I didn't know that.
You
I didn't know that the things were actually did audio until the property manager had actually showed myself and my supervisor.
When was that?
That was actually the night that you guys were all there. The night I took my verbal statement.
Right. So there's audio. So I can hear the things that you guys are saying.
Yep.
And we know she's putting in her code. What happens after that?
It still wasn't working.
What did you do?
I went and walked around. I told you.
And just left her there? Not knowing if she really resided there?
No. And like I said, when I came back, if she had still been there, I would have dealt with the situation, either told her she had to leave, or I would have called you guys and had you guys remove her until something could be done about it.
I want to give her the opportunity to go walk around again. So we're trying to understand this.
Basically,
we're trying to understand.
I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, and because honestly...
But that's not your job, is it?
No, it's not. It's all, it's not my job, and I was reprimanded for doing that already by my supervisor, actually by my boss. And yeah, what I should have done is was stayed with her, make sure she got into her apartment, and then left. But I have to babysit drunk kids in that complex all the time. I have other things I need to check to make sure that people are not breaking into apartments. I've had people try to get into the property before it did not belong. They were trying to sneak in. So around...
Yes, question. We can agree that you can't be every place at every time, can you?
Exactly.
Right? You can only be in one place at a time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's agree that if you have people sneaking into a door downstairs, you would have to deal with that, correct?
Correct.
And if that, while that's going on, something else happens up on the 3rd floor from the parking deck. I'm sorry, let's make a different floor. Let's say the 4th floor and 5th floor. Okay? Something happens where somebody breaks the door, does something, right? But you're downstairs and you're dealing with a legitimate issue. Are you going to get in trouble for that?
Not really.
No. We can agree on that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Then why did
Would you, but as I said, would you call this a pressing issue? I mean,
yeah.
Well,
the reason why I did what I did was because I've had cases before where I've had drunken people get locked out of their apartments. usually, yeah, I'll leave them there, let them try to figure out what they're trying to do. I'll go do a walk around. Hopefully by the time I get back, they've figured out the situation. It has happened in the past.
Usually you find those people right at their apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you go specifically after she walked in the door? Did you go floor by floor by floor to find her?
Because I wanted to make sure she was okay. She was obviously drunk and intoxicated, and I had to verify whether or not she was actually.
So then the question comes back to why would you leave her if she's so drunk and so intoxicated?
Because I left her at the door, and I pretty much figured she wasn't going to move from that spot. She was going to stay there and keep plugging away at that stupid key.
But do you understand that?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, I agree. That was a stupid thing for me to do, was to leave her alone.
It's on video where you're chasing her at one point.
That's because she thought she'd be funny and started running off.
Well, that's my question. If it's not that big of a deal,
I've had this happen before. Again, this is not something that's completely out of the norm for me to deal with drunken people doing stupid shit.
right? But I still come back to what I'm trying to understand, and I keep coming back to it is you went floor by floor by floor looking for her. She's running. You're going to try and find her, and basically this is a problem. It's taking up your time.
Yeah.
And I understand you're saying,
Well,
you know,
I don't want to
give her better.
I don't want to have to call you guys for just to take someone.
No, and I understand that, but after 3 or 4 or 5 times she puts the code in, you don't know. She could have been stalking her ex-boyfriend for all you know.
Yeah, I know.
And you didn't call.
Yeah.
Did you have a cell phone with you?
Yeah, I have my cell phone.
And you didn't call. Did she ask to use the phone? Did you offer to call your friends for her?
No.
So how was
She never asked me to use my phone.
Did you offer? Say, hey, can we call your friends for you?
No, I never offered.
So that becomes an issue. And then you know, you walk by, right? And she's not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I should have knocked on the door to check to make sure she was okay.
Why didn't you?
Because I don't make it in a habit to knock on someone's door unless there's a problem. Plus,
What we consider this a problem?
yes and no. If she got into the apartment, then at that
But
point,
that's a big
I'm not responsible for them once they reach their apartment. So they're private condos owned by individuals, not by the building.
But we can agree that you didn't know that was her apartment.
Yes, I can agree. Yeah, we can agree that.
So it could have been a problem that she was inside.
Yeah, they could have.
But you didn't knock.
I should have.
Steven, you know, I have an issue with something else too. I'm going to tell you. I look at human behavior and human nature, okay?
Okay.
And I have an issue with something.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this for a long time. And everybody that we've spoken to about this case has asked us several questions. What happened? How? When? You've never asked any of it.
Yeah,
I don't understand
I
that.
don't want to know.
Why not?
Because I don't want to find out that something happened on my shift that I could have prevented had I been around. And then that's going to eat away at me for the rest of my life.
What else could it be? What do you think? You're kind of on our side of it. I mean, what would that indicate to you? Possibly.
Someone who doesn't care.
Somebody knows.
And you think I know.
I'm just saying. We have to be, you know. We have to
No, I understand. It's you guys' job.
Well, it's just something we look at. So now you look at, you've got these garbage bags that you didn't report to anybody. You're taking them out to the second floor.
Dumpster.
Where the dumpster's there, but your car's there too. Okay. There's things missing. Right?
Okay.
We looked at certain things match up, and you know, there's holes in your statements. Every time we talk to you, there's more and more and more that comes out. And that just gives us a lot of pause. Okay. So, you know, the thing is, you know, we're not even talking about generalizing. You know, sometimes, you know, there's things that go out of our control, and it's something that it happens like that. But the thing is, people don't have intense, you know, like a car accident. You look down for 1 second at your cell phone, and the next thing you know, you're in a fatal accident, and the person on the other side is gone. That's an accident.
Yeah.
Sometimes you still have to answer for that. You still have to deal with it. But it's a lot better than if you drank 6 beers and got in the car and drove. I mean, that's a purposeful act. Wouldn't you agree?
Or at least a really stupid decision.
Well,
but
you know what I'm saying? It's purposeful. Somebody said, I'm going to do something I know I'm going to do, and they go in and, I'm going to drink these beers, I'm going to drive and fuck everybody else, and that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And they kill somebody. That's a hell of a lot different than somebody, I looked down for 3 seconds on my cell phone. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. How do you think a jury's going to look at a person like that versus a person who purposely drank and drove? How do you think a jury's going to look at that? How do you think society's going to handle somebody that says, I swear to God, it was an accident. I didn't mean it. Versus somebody who purposely does something to hurt somebody or cause a problem with society. How do you think they're going to look at, we've got A over here and B over here. How do you think society's going to look at those people?
They're going to look better on A than B.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes things happen. And you know what? Everything that we're looking at, there's problems with every little bit of what we're looking at. Okay? I don't think you're a monster. I don't think you're a bad guy at all. I think you're an honorable man. The temptation sometimes, and holy shit, she was a pretty girl. Wasn't she?
My wife's butter. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. You know what? Hey, look at some of these superstars. Yeah. They got the hottest wives going. Mm-hmm. And what do?
Yeah.
They'll go find some $100 whore and they'll screw around with them because it's different.
Yeah.
We're guys. There's temptation. There's temptation everywhere. Yeah. You can't tell me that, your wife could be the hottest in the world. I'm not saying she's not. Mm-hmm. But
no, I've looked. No, she's looked.
Sure. And you said the one that offered the sexual favors was a dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little different. Okay, so let's talk about a girl, a pretty girl. 9 times out of 10, you're going to say no because it's your job. Mm-hmm. It's who you are. Every man stumbles and every man falls sometimes, and it causes us to do things. Now, if that's the case, and it happened, it's not going to go away. I understand that. It's not. But remember, society is going to look at you one way or another. Mm-hmm. Did you want to hurt this girl? Mm-hmm. Did you want to hurt her?
She's one of the residents that I'm responsible for.
Oh, well, listen to my question. No, listen. Did you want to hurt her? Because there's predators out there that are going to go and do things on purpose. And then there's people who are going to fall into a temptation situation, and shit's going to happen. And the next thing you know, fuck. But again, that's just like the person who texted versus the person who drank 6 beers. This is the time. This is your time. Okay? The physical evidence is still out there. I know things were done, but that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. That's a big gamble you're taking. You want to sit and wait, and if it comes back, we're going to say, yep, here it is. We got the physical evidence now, and he didn't tell us anything, because that makes it look like you're that guy, this guy. Purposeful. I'm going to take what I want, I'm going to do what I want. Versus this guy. Okay? I'm not trying to get you to say anything that didn't happen. I'm just telling you the way it works. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't want to hurt her.
I didn't hurt
her. Stephen, can we at least agree that you did go inside? Now, you may not have hurt her.
I did not go inside of her apartment.
There's a lot of physical evidence.
Even after she invited you in?
She didn't invite me into her apartment.
So you know there's audio. There's audio. Mm-hmm. We can hear you too.
Mm-hmm. She didn't invite me into her apartment. And if we're going to continue on this line of discussion, I think we're done here for now. And I'm going to go home, I'm going to take a nap, and I'm going to go to work. If you guys want to talk to me again some other time, we'll have a lawyer involved, because at this point, I don't feel comfortable talking with you detectives. Because it sounds to me like you're trying to make me say something like I did something and I did not.
We want the truth is all we want.
Well, you have the truth. I'm sorry that some of my stuff has been kind of spotty. I'm sorry I may have forgotten some key details or even minor details that look really bad when they're not told. But I have told you everything. I've been more than cooperative. I mean, I even told you yesterday that I wasn't familiar, and I'm not kind of nervous about these things. I still came in today.
You did.
Now I'm looking at this, now I'm seeing this as a mistake to come in for this, because now it just makes it look like I did something, because obviously I'm bothered by the situation. There was a dead person that I saw in the building I'm responsible for the security of.
But one thing I can't do, Stephen, is change the result.
I know,
you do understand that.
No, I understand that.
No, I understand you've already said that you're done for the day.
Yeah,
I do understand that, and I respect that. But you have to know this isn't going away.
Okay. I understand.
I'm looking at it now,
Mhm.
and to be honest with you, I wish it was the other way around.
Yeah, me too, because obviously
there's
this
probability
doesn't look good for me.
that the result was produced by a truthful person.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it was 99.99% probability that this result was produced by a truthful person, but it isn't. I'm not qualified to administer that test. The person who did is overly qualified, and it is what it is. With all that being said, we will make sure to get you back out to your vehicle.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you have a pen? Did you have anything you gave me here?
Just my wallet and my keys. And my sunglasses.
And you what? And your sunglasses. Okay.
That was the administrators, the test administrators.
Yep. I will walk you out.
I'm gonna walk out with you.